It is your prisonplanet.tv memberships that fund so much of what we do here on this operation. And then we're more than happy for the TV show after it's aired live, then be leaked out onto the web to tens of millions of people. That's our goal. Things are really getting beyond surreal right now. They've had the FBI come out and say that police saying, hey, let's burn down Dorner's cabin aren't really saying, let's burn down his cabin. Burn that house down. Burn it down. Burn it down. We've got now 4 different scanner clips of this being said. And they just say, no, you didn't see that. It's literally a Jedi mind trick. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. And it just shows how crazy things have gotten, where the Congress insider trades gets caught engaging in incredible crimes and just says, oh, well, it's not crime when we do it. And I see the globalists exempting themselves from taxes, the president exempting himself from the Constitution, openly violating it, openly carrying out Fast and Furious, openly caught lying, openly putting our military under NATO control. And now, in New York State, they've passed the laws. In Missouri, they're trying to pass them. In Washington State, in Oregon. I mean, this is off the charts. They have bills to physically make you turn them in. This is from the Gateway Pundit, directly from the Missouri bill. The Democratic bill in Missouri removed the assault weapon or large capacity magazine from the state of Missouri. That's part 1 of the bill. Render the assault weapon permanently inoperable, that's spiking it, or surrender the assault weapon or large capacity magazine to the appropriate law enforcement agency for destruction subject to the specific agency regulations. Outlaw the importation, possession, purchase, sale. And I went and looked. That is what they're proposing. Here's another one. Washington state bill would make almost all gun owners criminals, banning almost all guns. SB 5737. But meanwhile, they're saying, we don't want your guns. We don't want your guns. That's why I blew up at Piers Morgan. He's like, nobody wants to take your guns. Really, you got a whole bunch of bills introduced to do it. You've called for the abolition. The UN has. Obama did as a state senator. Stop talking to me like I'm a 2-year-old. Do you understand, you filthy con artist? I'm sick of your crap. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, okay? I'm not under some trance where you burn things down and tell me you didn't burn them down. We have the stinking flare footage of them at Waco killing everybody. We have the Delta Force orders to go in and kill them. Came out in Congress, but they get on the news and say the Davidians burned themselves up. And now they're all on tape saying, burn him up, burn the mother effer up, burn that house down, burn it down, get the gas, set the burners are set, the house is on fire. And I've got the sheriff of the Big Bear area on video coming up saying, hey, we didn't intentionally set any fires. I wonder if it would work with cops if you were robbing a bank, had big bags of money over your shoulder, wearing a little mask, and they got their guns on you, and they say, hey, stop, freeze. You go, no, I'm not robbing the bank. I'm not a robber. They'd probably say, you're right, he's not. Actually, they wouldn't, but if you were wearing a uniform, they might. If you had like a mustache and a bald head and were the square-jawed cop and said, I'm not robbing the bank. Well, let us help you load that money up then. I mean, it is just getting ridiculous. It is preposterous. It is absolutely balderdash, cockamamie, horse manure, baloney, fraudulent trash, and it's the same everywhere. People are delusional about their kids. They're delusional about their health. They're delusional about their paycheck. We're delusional about the dollar and the inflation and the doubling the national debt under Obama, and it's just going to go absolutely off the tracks. In fact, the train's already off the tracks. It just hasn't gone over the edge of the cliff yet. It's already gone off, and it's like, oh, you know where that's going. I mean, just get ready, strap yourselves in, because the country has gone collectively insane, like every other culture has, and I believe it's going to get 10 times worse before it gets better. It is going to just absolutely go into Bonkerville. Monday through Friday, we are here live, ladies and gentlemen. 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern, and of course, we also have the Sunday show, 4 to 6 p.m., and InfoWars Nightly News every evening at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, transmitted out to all the subscribers at prisonplanet.tv and InfoWarsNews.com. Okay, wow, another over-the-top, insane amount of news. I've got today's economic bombshell news, dovetailing with the news from yesterday about inflation worldwide, ticking up very, very quickly because of countries all in a race to devalue their currencies. This is being globally orchestrated, and the G20 admits it, Davos has admitted, and it only helps a select group of insiders in the monopoly crime syndicate. We're going to be getting into that. We have Dr. Corey Gold coming on. He's a talk show host, on 2 of our affiliates out in California, KSCO and one other. And he actually lives in the area of Big Bear, and he's actually been going there and talking to other witnesses and people, and he's going to be able to give us a report on that coming up in about 1 hour. Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily, WND.com, will be joining us, because let me tell you, when he got on air before the election and said if Obama gets in, total hammer down, they will confiscate the guns, they will start a civil war, they will try to arrest us, I was like, okay, Joe, yeah, that is a possibility. Sure, it's going that direction, but I'm still thinking he was being a little apocalyptic. He is dead on. And he's in D.C. He's got his ear right to the ground. He knows what is afoot. So Joseph Farah will be joining us to talk about what's going on in Bonkerville, Cocoa Puffville, crazy land that the United States is becoming. But it's not just here. All over the world, Western governments are just disconnected and getting more and more decadent and thinking everybody's believing their propaganda. Now, I'm going to get to this later in the hour. But obviously, you've seen the FBI on TV saying, oh, they don't mean burn it down when they say burn that house down. But burn that house down. Burn down that cabin. Burn it down. Get the gas. Bring it in. Okay, set the burners. Okay, the fire is set. Okay, it's on fire. I mean, now I've got like 5 clips, different clips of them talking about burn that house down. And the news is like, burn that house down does not mean burn that house down. And it's just entering a whole new zone of they're so undisciplined. If you're going to burn the guy up because he's already killed, 4 people and injured 2 others and just killed a sheriff's deputy, and you don't want him to get out alive, you don't want to have more people die getting in there. In the past, they burn the guy up. That's standard procedure. But the public, the sheep-like public's not supposed to know that. At Waco and everywhere else, Gordon Call case, so many others, they burn you up. They don't go in when you're in there. They burn you up. This is the tactics. And I guess as they try to confiscate guns more and more nationwide, and I've got that big stack of news, we're just going to see houses burned up, and, oh, he burned himself up, or, oh, we don't know why it burned up. And you can even have the cops in the future pouring the gasoline on the house. In the case of Randy Weaver, it was caught on film. It's on YouTube. Just type in "chopper tries to burn out Randy Weaver." It has the big bladder. That's what they call it, a big bucket with another rope going up that they just pull, and it releases gasoline on the top of your house. Then they fire a flare into it. And you got guys hanging out the helicopter with a flare, and they've got the bladder, and they're going to burn his house down with the little kids inside of it. Oh, you're going to stand up to us? We shot your kid in the back and then shot your wife in the head, and now you're hiding out inside, so we're going to shoot you. Because we're such men. Lon Horiuchi, the ATF sniper, yes. And because the news didn't follow orders to pull out, they got it on tape and they couldn't burn him out. But this is getting crazy now in this country, where you could have them burning it down, lighting the match, doing it, and you see them with the match and the gasoline, but that is not what that looks like. Now, oh, well, okay, these are not the droids we're looking for. Move along, move along. This is what we're talking about. And We're going to be getting into all of that. Also, CNN panel says Dorner's alleged murder spree is exciting, like Denzel Washington movie. And I've seen this on Infowars.com, on PrisonPlanet.com. There's a minority of people in there. On YouTube, it's about half the people are like, how dare you, you establishment shill, you are scum, you have sold out, kill pigs and more pigs, kill, 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 let's burn them out. Let's kill them, kill their families, kill, 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 kill. It's all over Facebook, all over Twitter. CBS News reported on it 3 days ago, like, it's kind of reasonable. The police are corrupt, and they're racist, so let's kill them. And it just adds to the Twilight Zone. You've got the cops shooting innocent people in cars that don't even match the description, and arrogant and delusional and disconnected from reality. And then you've got people that think the sense of justice against this haywire system is, let's kill cops' families. Oh, that's a really good idea. Beyond even what the immoral police are doing. I mean, this is a country that is demon-possessed. And see, folks are always like, well, which side do you take? You know, are you for this government or that government? This religion or that religion? This sect or that sect? Look, more often than not, it's that it's all bad. And it's different variants of it. The reason the police are dangerous is more and more they're militarized, more and more they're paranoid, more and more they're arrogant, and more they're trained when they want to search your car and you go, well, Fourth Amendment officer, what's your probable cause? Get out of here, you extremist. I've heard of it. You know, that if you're a real American, sensible, know what the country's founded on, know your rights, you're the enemy. And the system is maneuvering us into a confrontation with the police that is designed to cause a civil war in this country, that they're going to try to trigger ahead of the economic collapse. So they don't get blamed for the economic collapse, which they know they've already engineered to consolidate power. See, people, I heard a talk show last night on 90.1 as I was driving home about 10 at night from work. And the talk show was from Australia. It's a pretty good show. I've heard it before, but it's aired local. And I heard him going, I disagree with Alex Jones. The martial law will be because of an economic collapse, not a civil war caused by gun confiscation. Let me explain something to you again, okay? These are complex issues, but they're also simple at the same time. They want to trigger a civil war as a political distraction from the foreign robber barons destroying the economy to consolidate it and to break the public and make us poor as a political tool. It's in the 112-point IMF plan leaked to the BBC in March of 2002 that I printed a transcript of, and the article's in my book, Descent into Tyranny, that's available to read as an ebook at prisonplanet.tv. And is online. And that we wrote another article on Monday about banks want global rioting for global civil war and civil war in the U.S. The next issue of the magazine coming out is going to cover this. It's more than one thing can go on. It's like in science. Part of a theory can be right from one area, part of another theory can be correct, and then unify those fields. The system wants a civil war they're going to call terrorism, the feds against the terrorists, who are the states, libertarians, constitutionalists, conservatives, veterans, Christians, gun owners, born-again Christians, official Homeland Security documents. Remember Janet Reno on 60 Minutes in 1995 said, pull the clip up, we've played it before, Christians who believe in a second coming of Christ are cults, are cult members, and are the greatest threat. Now, where are Christians who believe in a second coming of Christ doing anything? They're the most law-abiding, goody-two-shoes, neurotically good people out there. On record. Everybody knows that. Oh, but we're the terrorists, ladies and gentlemen. We're the people. We're the people who work 17 hours a day. We're the people that go to church. We're the people that pay all the fake taxes and bow down to the system. And we're the no, what we are is the milk cow, the slave out in the barn who they don't want getting uppity and who they want to be able to absolutely feed off of to the 10th power. So we've got that news. And we've got all the drone news. And we've got just absolutely insane stuff going on that we're going to be breaking down here today. But when we come back, the top stories of the day, all up at Infowars.com. And I'm taking this Gateway Pundit article from DrudgeReport.com and the Before It's News article about Erie County, New York sheriff says he won't confiscate guns. and protesters vow to disobey New York gun law. We're going to play that video and audio of them in the Capitol really getting in their face. This is very exciting. They're refusing to turn in their guns. Washington state bill would outlaw almost all gun owners, make them criminals. In Missouri, it says in Part 3 of the bill, and this is what they say they have the votes to pass right now: surrender the assault weapon or large capacity magazine to the appropriate law enforcement agency for destruction, subject to any specific agency regulations. And it just says this gives them a blank check law where the agency, the state police of Missouri, decide what an assault weapon is. It's that blank check bill, like the Obama health care bill, just says we can do anything we want. Death panels, raise any taxes you want. They're now talking about new taxes when you go to the doctor, a fee at the doctor. There's in Obamacare. My dad's involved in the medical field and involved in management, and he was showing me the bills to line up with the feds. In fact, I meant to cover it last week. It's happening all over the country. The states are lining up with the feds to get fees on every doctor or dentist visit that goes, get this, to pay government employee pension funds. I mean, when you go to the doctor, you will pay a fee on top of things to pay for giant $1 million retirements. Yeah, I was reading about government employees who, I mean, just like low-level government people who are, quote, security, not even federal law enforcement, at docks and things, are getting $160,000 a year, and it's not even a degreed thing. But people with degrees are working at the grocery store. It is crazy. It is crazy. And they are just going to jack. In fact, I saw the federal unions yesterday. We read the headline, Obama federal pay increases not enough. Remind me of the illegal alien who got the free government paid for kidney in Chicago last month and said, it isn't enough. I want all the medication free. Yeah, but Americans don't get anything free except a SWAT team taking our houses. We don't pay property tax. We don't want your guns. Nobody wants to confiscate them. We've just got bills introduced in all 50 states to confiscate them that have the Democratic Party leadership in every state promoting them. And we just banned most of your semi-autos and your magazines above 10 rounds, and police are pulling over veterans and people with no criminal records in New York and taking them to jail and charging them with 5 felonies. Oh, you got 5 magazines above 10 round? That's 5 felonies. And the government's saying, good gun owners. I think we got video of this coming up at the State House at their little Bloomberg-run program. He's the guy that set it all up, put his money into it. The Safe Streets Act and the Mayors Against Violence. They're in Albany. This video's coming up in audio for radio listeners. It's powerful audio. And the folks that shot it put Rolling Stones to it, so people will say, don't play music under it. We want to hear it. It's the only video we got, so I'm going to play it. And, you know, the government, if you listen to him carefully, he's like, good. They're like, we're not turning our guns in. The government's like, we're coming then. Because it's the government owners. They see those people. They know they're law-abiding. They know they're good, and they're not. And they're like, our food is saying it's not going to be our slave anymore. Our property, our slaves are saying that they're not going to turn firearms in. See, they already see you as slaves. That's the arrogance of government. They've said the message is government be arrogant, be in their face, flaunt things, lie to them publicly. Doesn't matter how arrogant it is. They are a foreign military power. The globalists have taken America over. The hundreds and hundreds of sheriffs that have stepped up and said, this is unconstitutional, from New York to Kentucky, from Texas to Alabama to Florida to California to Michigan to Washington State. The hundreds, it's over 200 now. They're just simply being loyal to the Republic. They're not collaborators with the globalists. And those aren't words. Guys, will you print me the history of French collaborators, the Vichy French? Print me the encyclopedia, please, on Vichy French collaborators. I mean, I know their definition, but I want to read it to people so they understand it. This has been done when the Soviets used to take over. All those, was it 15 or so countries they ended up taking over with the Soviet Union? They would come in usually and not invade. They would put their political group in, have them take over, and then when the public tried to throw them out, they would then roll in Soviet tanks to back them up. Or the Soviets would start a civil war and claim that some group was being abused, so they had to invade. That's the tactics you see in the Middle East now, claiming Libya did something, Syria did something. So, the good guys have to invade, backed by the West, and the good guys, as General Boykin, former head of Special Forces, has gone public, is al-Qaeda. General Boykin's pointing out that our government's funding al-Qaeda. And I know I've been saying that for years, but now General Boykin's saying it. You see, you either wake up to how much trouble we're in or we lose everything. And the system is promoting, via Homeland Security, people that will do what they're told and enjoy lying to positions of power. And I just want to tell everybody, this is all up at Infowars.com right now. Missouri Democrats introduce legislation to confiscate firearms, gives gun owners 90 days to turn in weapons. This is officially posted by the Democratic Party of Missouri. Now, again, when you call and say you don't want this, they're going to say, doesn't exist. Because and you're like, well, it's a military tactic. At Waco, when they're ramming the tanks in and setting it on fire, they were broadcasting, this is not an assault. Come out with your hands up. They come out with their hands up on FLIR, they shoot them. It's the same thing. We're not taking your guns. Piers Morgan, I believe in the Second Amendment, even though previously he said he didn't. I believe you have a right to own guns, properly controlled, locked up at a shooting range. You can go shoot at a couple times a year. With cops on the range standing over you, henpecking you the whole time. He believes you have that right. They already took all the full auto, semi-auto. Now they want the bolt action and the single shot, all guns taken in Australia. It's been done everywhere else the exact same way over and over and over again. And they're in a rush to get this done because they're going to implode everything. And they want to start a civil war over the gun confiscation. They're going to keep arresting veterans in these states where they've banned the guns. They're going to keep arresting people for their magazines until people fight back, and they're going to be called terrorists on the news. And they're then going to start trying to come and arrest patriots and talk show hosts and people, hoping folks start fighting them, giving us no other choice. So the Civil War will be the reason for the total collapse, you see. They want to blame internal groups, and then the feds will reorganize and declare an emergency, and they'll fix things. Well, man, Obama really took over, and like Lincoln, and you can see the whole scripted deal. But we're here blowing the whistle on it. We may be able to stop them. We'll be right back with the gun confiscation plan. All right, we have coming up Dr. Corey Gold joining us, then Joseph Farah. Towards the end of the third hour, I'm going to play a bunch of clips from the State of the Union. I got to some of them yesterday, but not all of them. And we've got like 16 clips. I don't know if I can get to all of them today, but I'll play quite a few of them. Just amazing. The president saying, look, if you don't do cybersecurity, I'll do an executive order. And the cybersecurity bill he couldn't pass, total open surveillance without warrants, what they're already doing. They just want it legalized. And tracking of everything, and the government being able to shut everything off, and just absolutely the type of stuff that dictators would love. And then, if Congress won't bring in carbon taxes and shut down all the industries to save the earth, of course, I'll just act. And they're just getting everybody used to things are going to get bad in America. I just need to be able to act. You know, if I was a dictator, I could fix all this, but the Republicans won't work with me. Really? You got your Obamacare passed, written by the insurance companies to raise taxes on basically everybody that gets a paycheck, the payroll taxes, and all the other taxes, and the economy shutting down. All the numbers are there. And you're telling us, though, your number one thing you want is to get us jobs. I'm going to get back into the attack on the Second Amendment, and then I'm going to open the phones up, too, so you can give us your take on all this, and I'll get into Dorner as well, and just the new blatant lie. When we say burn down, the FBI saying on CNN, when we say, burn it down or burn that house down, that does not mean that. In fact, they're not really saying that. And we have 5 different clips. I'm going to play 3 of them, but they're linked up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And if you're a good patriot and not a conspiracy theorist, they didn't set that on fire. Don't question them. In fact, if you saw police in devil outfits with gasoline cans, pouring it on there, lighting it on fire in red pajamas, you didn't see that. It doesn't matter what you see. Okay? I mean, Bill Clinton didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. He told the truth. That was all a lie later when it came out that he supposedly lied. No. Bill Clinton doesn't lie. There's no insider trading in Congress, even though they admit there is. There's no UN running giant child kidnapping rings, white slavery rings. Even though it's all admitted, it's not happening. The government is good. Your pension funds are safe. The dollar is safe. The economy is strong. We left the recession 4 years ago. Okay? I mean, the government says so. I mean, you know things are better now than they were 4 years ago. You know things are great. And you also know Easter bunnies are real and Santa Claus is real. Here's a little piece of news. Injection-free vaccination delivered live viruses without a refrigerator. Ray Kurzweil reports on scientists being funded by Bill Gates who developed a little vaccine system that's little sugar needles that punch into your skin, delivering live virus. Nothing like that. Little specialties. Those are the cancer virus type, generally. That's their favorite. And Bill Gates, you know, he runs programs like this in India, and 65,000 kids get polio, and a bunch of them die. It's a minor footnote. I mean, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Nothing to worry about, Mr. Gopher. It's not a plastic explosive or anything. All right, excuse me. I'm quoting Caddyshack. It's just becoming unbelievable. You know, Bill Gates' dad ran Planned Parenthood as a famous eugenicist. He's still alive. And Bill Gates is a eugenicist. You can pull the clips up saying he wants to reduce the world population. And and says vaccines are to do it. But you know what? Never mind all that. He says he wants to kill you. Prince Philip, Ted Turner, Prince Charles, they all say it. I've got new articles out where top globalists are saying fight terrorism by reducing population. Be like Satan saying he was going to destroy the whole earth and then bring peace, because yeah, there will be peace when everything's dead. I mean, it's just all entering cuckoo land. Well, it's not entering; it's beyond cuckoo land. Cuckoo land and beyond. Bonkerville. I think I coined that, Bonkersville. And I laugh about it sometimes, even though it's so horrific, because it's so ridiculous when you're awake. And the general public has this auto response, this conditioned, learned helplessness, normalcy bias, mass Stockholm syndrome, Overton window, cowardly crime stop, 1984. Will you guys bring me that box of Fruit Loops in there? It's in the shipping department. Because the guys were saying, look at this, we bought this. I meant to show it. Because now they've got Orwellian doublethink on it. It says 1 + 1 = 5 on the side. And it's not even a joke. They try to explain how it really does equal that. And it's just like this culture of pretty soon, you know, the freedom will be to say 2 + 2 = 4. And they're just mopping up freedom of speech, mopping up, putting their control grids in, hiring lots of military people who, quote, want to be heroes in the homeland and really believe they're fighting terrorists everywhere when they work for the terrorist. Federal government's gone, folks. It's openly run by the globalist. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The Fruit Loops Kellogg's box that one of the crews saw and said they had to buy it so I could show people. And it says Kellogg's Fruit Loops, nothing like delicious GMO, all the colored dyes you need, all the high fructose corn syrup you need, everything your child needs to then go on a sugar high and then crash and be in a bad mood. Then the answer is Ritalin, Prozac, and a bunch of other drugs. But here you go, part of this nutritious breakfast. 1 + 1 = 5. That's right, it explains it. Explains it all for your kids' little math lesson there on the side. And look, you could be like Toucan Sam as well. And you'd probably grow a tumor that looks like Toucan Sam's nose if you eat enough high fructose corn syrup. And the GMO that's in there certainly does to the rats. I can actually show you rats that grow these giant toucan pus snouts from the GMO. If you think I'm joking. Pull up GMO rats for people who think I'm joking. Find one that's got the big elephant nose. Hey, look right here. It's got vitamin D, potassium, protein, fiber, and calcium, and all the dyes you need and the GMO you need, plus the 8 ounces of milk equals 1 + 1 = 5. Of course, they don't tell you the milk's actually giving you all the nutrients, basically. You add the Fruit Loops, and you will go Fruit Loops. Again, your kid will be a screwed-up, sugar-high person, not getting the minerals and vitamins they need. And then they'll have behavioral problems, and they'll jack them up on drugs and stuff through the New Freedom Initiative, and then they will be as insane as Toucan Sam. All right. Actually, I'm a conspiracy theorist. GMO is good for you. And they didn't burn down that cabin, and they really did do the bin Laden raid. It's real. It's real, folks. It's all real. No one on the ship saw the body, and that's now confirmed. And they fired most people on the ship, set them up so they'd be discredited. And the Navy SEALs helicopter blew up that day, and then the others who were speaking out, their helicopter all blew up. And they think someone put a bomb on board. I've talked to one of the Navy SEALs whose friend died. But they think Al-Qaeda put a bomb on the helicopter, and that someone in the Pentagon works with Al-Qaeda and had them all cram onto a helicopter for a fake mission saving people. It turned out it was all fake, and they thought something was going on because they never done an operation like that. And the helicopter blew up, but the Navy SEALs think Al-Qaeda did it. Oh, yeah. I remember those headlines back after 9/11. Top FBI agents think Al-Qaeda had a mole in the Justice Department because Al-Qaeda was always one step ahead of them. Yeah, they got a mole inside. The globalists run the FBI and run the CIA and run Al-Qaeda. You're compartmentalized. You hadn't figured that out yet? It's full spectrum dominance. If you've got this multi-trillion global empire op, you've got to have an excuse to invade. So you train and equip the groups that you then go fight. And only the commanders of Al-Qaeda know they're double and triple agents. They're double agents working for the globalist. And then they also are working for their own people and themselves. Triple agents, mercenary agents. But you don't have a full spectrum brain because you weren't taught to have one. You were taught to have a one-dimensional, not even a two-dimensional, not a three-dimensional, certainly not a fourth or fifth-dimensional awareness system. And that is why you are slaves. And I'm here to tell you, folks, you can all break out of it if you learn how to study this stuff. Okay, I got so much I got to get to. Let's start getting to these clips. Again, I'm going to get more into this with Joseph Farah when he comes on. Missouri introduces legislation to make you turn your guns in. Up at Infowars.com and DrudgeReport.com also was originally posted the Gateway Pundit article. I've got Nemo boiling it down with a whole list of states doing similar things. Washington, California, Washington State bill would make almost all gun owners criminals. And California now, the police-run checkpoints. We've probably posted 20 articles the last 2 weeks where you drive up on major roads and they go, we're just doing a safety search of the vehicle. But as long as they say it like that, it's all right. Violates the 4th Amendment, 5th Amendment. It's federally funded, 10th Amendment. And people with no criminal records. Remember, you're the main target. You're the food. You're going to make the good prisoners at the factories, prisons. The new prisons are for the gun owners. And we're like, all right, get out of the vehicle. I'm going to search it. The veteran, highly decorated, in one case, runs a big charity for veterans that are hurt. He's trying to, later when he's arrested, he's like, well, I run a veterans group. I have no criminal record. I'm highly decorated. They're like, buddy, you're who we want in jail. Okay, I mean, you understand you're the food. You're the enemy. You're done. You've helped build the empire. We're spiking you like that cannon. They want all the guns spiked in Missouri? Or you got to spike them, fill them, ruin them, go in and show them so it's worthless. This is on record. Or you turn them in. And the troops, you're a weapon. You're to be spiked. They're going to take your rights. They're going to declare you mentally ill. They're going to take they're going to take everything you got. Until you say, you're crooks, we don't buy what you do. You're crooks. We know you're crooks. We know the government is illegitimate. If we don't start doing that, there's no future, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? You've got to get out of your trance. So we're going to get more into that. And they illegally search the vehicles and go, what is this? You got 5 30-round mags. Well, I didn't even know that law had gone into effect yet. I got to turn those in, or those are illegal. Doesn't even say what you do with them, just they're illegal. All right, handcuffs, boom, your life's over, 5 felonies. And that jury will sit there and salute and go, 20 years in prison. Yeah, just yeah. And when their house gets taken because of property taxes, their neighbors will be good. Take that house. Just destroy America. Ruin everything. Shut the power plants down. Raise the taxes. Bankrupt everything. Yeah! Raise taxes on the poor and say you didn't, and the poor will beg you to take all their paycheck. Yeah! 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 More! I mean, it is just over the top. Oh, holy Toledo. I mean, I just... Calgon, take me away. I mean, it's just... And I'm the crazy one. I'm just going to let this speak for itself. This is a CNN panel. This is up at Infowars.com. Dorner's alleged murderer spree, exciting like Denzel Washington movie. And it's a long clip. The guy before that says, you can go watch it. Breitbart broke it. Well, I guess they broke it on CNN. They're proud of it. I don't think they hit it. He was like, well, there's a lot of corrupt cops. People like this. Yeah, let's tie up people at cabins for 2 days, no food or water. Let's shoot cops' daughters. People are like, yeah, kill their family. I mean, it's just this country, folks. The Germans were much more moral, and I've studied it than we are today in the 30s, deceived by Hitler and all the rest of it, and didn't even believe there were death camps everywhere. People thought the Germans were being naive. They weren't. They were hyper naive. Eisenhower didn't believe they were really naive and would make them go look and stuff, and they didn't believe it. There's famous film footage of that. And now I realize, folks, people are so cowardly, they would cheer blowing babies' brains out 110% if they thought it would keep them from having their brains blown out. They don't get the fact that you stand up to tyranny or you get your brains blown out. You stand up or you become a slave. They think literally greasing the skids for tyranny, begging for it, begging for tyranny, that the tyranny is going to be nice to them. You know, when freedom fails, the best men rot in filthy jails, and those that cried, appease, appeased, are hung by those they tried to please. I mean, this country, and I love America, it's a lot of great people, but it's either totally demonic or really hardcore, getting better and more closer to God and waking up.
The traffic.
I can't read
the boss.
I can't read
the baby. The dog. That does it. Calgon, take me away.
Lose your cares in the luxury of a Calgon bath. Calgon softens the water to leave skin feeling silky smooth as it lifts your spirits. The soft, luxurious, fragrant world of Calgon.
I love it.
Pamper yourself.
I love the fluoride water and Prozac. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying. Let me just get back to what I was saying here. The people that aren't waking up are just getting deeper and deeper into craziness. Countries go collectively insane. The world is going collectively insane right now. And we've had such wealth and everything for so long, we've become totally decadent. Now let's go to the CNN panel. This individual glamorizing, well, I mean, let's play the clip. Here it is.
There's no waste here, though. I mean, this has been an important public conversation that we've had about police brutality, about police corruption, about state violence. I mean, there were even talks about making him the first domestic drone target. I mean, this is serious business here. I don't think it's been a waste of time at all. And as far as Dorner himself goes, he's been like a real-life superhero to many people. Now, don't get me wrong. What he did was awful. Killing innocent people is bad. But when you read his manifesto, when you read the message that he left, he wasn't entirely crazy. He had a plan and a mission here, and many people aren't rooting for him to kill innocent people. They're rooting for somebody who was wronged to get a kind of revenge against the system. It's almost like watching Django Unchained in real life. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
But he went about it the wrong
Yeah, that's
way.
enough. And you know, when there were a whole bunch of machete attacks that I predicted, they were only in little local things, like man killed with machete, men hacked up outside movie theater. It was like 6 or 7 cases. But I was right about machete causing that, but the media didn't report on it, so I'm wrong. And same thing with Django and all this stuff. And it's meant, again, divide and conquer in this country. And it makes me so incredibly frustrated that we're all being nailed to the wall by the globalists, and they're trying to play us off against each other, but also making the perception of anything from a liberal perspective, then violence is okay. Because, oh, he liked Obama, he was for gun control, so it's okay. By the way, I've analyzed what this guy did. He was didn't have actually that much training and didn't do a very good job. And they're now admitting that of evading and all the rest of this stuff. By the way, if anybody with real training ever wanted to kill police, it's pretty easy to do. You go to the police station and you wait till there's a shift change. And I'm not letting out any secrets here that real people trained in this type of stuff would not already know. Okay? I mean, if Dorner wanted to kill 50 cops, there's a way to do it. And again, the point is that he was a anti-gun buffoon, and I believe from the research this was a real case, at least part of it. The way the police acted hysterical, pity partying, shooting innocent people. It was a PR disaster for them. But they did find IDs on the Mexican border and up at the house. But they're such congenital liars, you don't know if any of that's true. So maybe he was an innocent guy. I mean, who knows? I mean, Maybe he's like Django. I mean, a hero. I mean, you know, everybody knows Django, you know, kills the, what is it, Japanese police captain's daughter. I mean, that's heroic. I mean, that's he was a racist, obviously. I'm being sarcastic. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I know we got callers and we got a guest coming up, but I haven't even gotten to the sheriff's department. When the sheriff there in the Big Bear area, when he says we didn't intentionally set the fire, he like totally looks down. I mean, it's like when you're a kid, like, did you open the whole package of cookies and eat all 20 of them? They got cookies all over their face. No, I didn't. They look down. He looks down. We did not burn it on purpose, no. And Bill Clinton didn't have sex with that lady, and Obama loves poor people, too, yeah. Yeah, he's a nice man. Let's go ahead and play the sheriff last night saying, because he's asked by the mumbling reporter, he can't really hear it, you know, did you guys intentionally set the fire? Here it is.
I can tell you that it was not on purpose. We did not intentionally burn down that cabin to get Mr. Dorner out. The tear gas canisters that we used, first off, we used a presence when we showed up. Secondly, we used a cold tear gas. Then we used, the next tear gas was that was pyrotechnic. Does generate a lot of heat. We introduced those canisters into the residence, and a fire erupted. Along
with the gasoline, right? Because I know you're following Special Forces tactics. That's enough from him. That's enough from him. Standard procedure. Dump fuel, fire incendiary. If you're in an open military zone, you use a flamethrower, incendiary weapons, bombs. But if it's public, dump the fuel, then use a burner, then say it's a fire. Now, let's go to some of these clips. I don't have time to play them all because we'll get to a few of your calls and the guests coming up. But let's go ahead and play just randomly. Guys, you got so many clips. Here's one.
Look out! Shoot the gas! Get the gas! Burn the gas! Burn the gas! Let me
All right, again, we apologize for the expletive.
Let's get the gas. Burn it down. And again, the unbeat version is on Infowars.com.
All right, Steve, we're gonna go forward with the plan with the burner. Got it. One, it's like we talked about. 7 burners deployed and we have a fire.
Copy, 7 burners deployed and we have a fire.
We have a fire.
On the number 4 side, we have fire in the
That's
front.
not excited. We have a fire. We're in charge. We're killing him. We're in charge. That's what it's all about. I'm in charge. I'm arrived. I'm a movie star. I'm a government god.
Contact fire to staging up on.
Are you a god? The Ghostbusters say no, then die. That's enough. The point is that when you hear it without the beeps, it's even clearer, but we have to beep it for radio. They're like, burn that mother bleeper down. Burn it down.
What do you make of that?
It could be just bravado talk. I mean, obviously, there's multiple rounds being exchanged at that particular time. You have an officer down, 2 officers down at that point.
Stop right there.
Died.
That's good. I want to play it earlier because the CNN, a day after we broke it and Drudge Report pushed it out there, then they were forced to, they're saying burn that mother effer down. They play it, and they have the original clear footage because what we have was shot off a television by a listener. And they play it, and it's very clear. And he's like, well, that's just bravado saying burn that house down. But others say it doesn't mean burn the house down. All right. I gave the number out and kind of hogged the time. We're going to go to some of your calls now, and I promise we'll get to your calls who we're holding when Dr. Corey Gold's with us. Then Joseph Farah joins us about 40 minutes in the next hour. And then I'm going to get into some of the State of the Union I didn't get into yesterday. It's all surreal right now. It's gotten so crazy. Let's go to Alex in Illinois, has a death panel story. Welcome, Alex.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me on the show. First off, I just wanted to say before I got into my story, it was May Day, May 1st, 2011, when you woke me up. So thank you very much for that.
Awesome.
What I wanted to tell you about today is my mother. I was trying to get her to come on the show and tell her story, but she is a director of a cardiovascular unit in a hospital in Illinois. And they brought in a brand new group of doctors that they work with for heart attack victims and things like that.
The new bioethics panel.
Yeah, it's the brand new group of doctors they brought in right after Obamacare got brought in. There's one particular doctor who's almost causing my mom to lose her job because this guy is coming in and he let a 46-year-old homeless guy who came in for heart treatment have a heart attack for 16 hours through the night because of his social status. He said, well, if this is a 46-year-old doctor, then it's a completely different story.
No, but that's liberal. And see, people don't get that they're getting rid of all the old doctors, basically telling them leave, and the new officers are arriving. And these are medical officers of the socialist takeover. And they are horrible eugenicist environmentalists who are here to reduce population and believe in there's only so much. So Bill Gates says we've got to kill Granny to hire 10 teachers. And again, he'll end up firing your mother. So you either go on the offense against them or they will go on the offense against you. But no, this is going on everywhere. And if they don't politically like you and you have insurance, they're going to kill you. Understand, they are officers now. They are in command, and they enjoy the exercise of power. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
See, that's the thing.
But they're loving. We should do what they say. They're liberal. Just like Linda Blair is in The Exorcist. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Alex, she's got the director of nursing, the director of quality care, her 2 direct supervisors backing her, and the vice president, not of the hospital, but the vice president of marketing is threatening to fire her. And is backing this doctor, and I told
well,
my mom,
of course, I mean, you've got to let
about
somebody have a heart attack and die, and of course, it's the homeless guy today. It'll be you tomorrow. And it all started this way in Germany. Oh, but it's liberal. It's liberal. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, my question to you, Alex, is that she's thinking about pursuing, potential legal action. Does she have a case with
Absolutely. Well, they'll circle the wagons just like the cops that torched Dorner. It's all about they're going to lie, they're going to get away with it, and each time they get away with more, they're going to do more. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the fact is they'll end up getting her because it's a cult, and then they'll have their fun at the hospital. They always do. They take organs at hospitals, kill healthy people for organs. It's all over the country. I mean, it's a nightmare. I mean, my dad's a physician and warned me when I got my driver's license, don't sign your organ donor card. A lot of hospitals will kill you if you come in even hardly hurt. And then I didn't believe him. And then 60 Minutes, like 5 years later, did a whole piece on it, mentioning the city where I lived. But you know what? Killing people for their organs is loving, too. Why not just, hey, why shouldn't your mother just offer to join the cult and start killing people? I mean, is your mother an extremist?
No, absolutely not.
She doesn't want to kill people. I mean, that's obviously some kind of fruitcake.
No, this single event is causing her to wake up, and I finally started.
No, your mother and you are bad people. Killing people is good.
Well, Alex, I appreciate you allowing me on the show.
No, seriously, let me just be serious with you, brother. Look, even if she threatens them, they don't care. They're used to always winning. They'll probably try to get rid of her and then blackball her and lie about her. The best thing is to go on the total offense, talk about everything she saw, what she did. The truth is the truth. Call their bluff. Put the whole thing out. And that it's a bioethics death panel at that hospital. Either that or they're going to totally take over and start killing all of us. All right, here are some of the latest headlines up at Infowars.com. Dorner drones and the NDAA secret arrest program. Kurt Nemo, medals for killing women and children. Majority of Americans support drone strikes. And some numbers I've seen show half the public supporting Dorner. They just love death and killing and to be slaves. New surveillance system tracks every moving object in the entire city. Got to track the slaves. FBI mouthpiece suggests police were not yelling, burn it down. But then other police say, well, they just meant that because they were angry. Even though we have six different clips of them saying, burn him, kill him, burn him down, burn that house down. Burn that house down does not mean that. You understand these are not the droids you're looking for? Move along. Also, it says, expert combat terrorism with highly drastic population control. And the Pentagon actually has a paper out agreeing humans are terror. The establishment needs everything you've got to save you, of course. Police ludicrously claim Dorner cabin fire was not intentional. Full report there. Kill anyone you want. Law has been abandoned in America. Mike Adams calls that satire. It's a great article, but it's not really satire. I mean, yeah, you can't because you're a lowly slave. Obama wants to secretly kill, put our troops under UN. Congress wants to insider trade. They want to burn down Dorner and then lie and say they didn't. They want to shoot innocent people in vehicles that don't even match his description. That's fine. Government is king. Government is God. Government is everything. The founding fathers are bad. FEMA actually teaches it. In my film Road to Tyranny, I have footage of them teaching police the founding fathers are evil. I have footage of squad car checkpoints where they find a pocket constitution of one of my listeners and arrest her and start hyperventilating like they had found just Satan himself in her trunk. I've got to play that clip again sometime. This is the bizarroid weirdness that is going on. This is the over-the-top cuckoo land world we've entered. Now, Dr. Corey Gold joins us. We're going to get to your calls in the second half of this hour, all over the map. He can talk about it. Fake outbreaks. Piers Morgan and Dorner, big supporter of him, more on Dorner, media manipulation. He's a syndicated talk show host. He out of KSCO, one of our great affiliates there in California. We're also on that station, its sister station. And then Joseph Farah joins us a little bit into the next hour for about 30 minutes or so to talk about the total tyranny we're seeing. But he lives right down the hill from where all this happened. He's got a lot of contacts in the media there. So I called him and asked him to do as much research as he could on this and to give us a report on what's happening and what is going on in the area. So I'm going to give you the floor for the balance of this segment. I'll have a few points to throw in, but to break down your take on what's happening, your take on the public, many of them praising him, large numbers, CNN host praising him, CNN panel members, and the police acting like crazy people as well. I mean, this is out of control. And what you really think went on here, Dr. Corey Gold, again, received his doctorate in dental surgery from the University of California, San Francisco in '88. Prior to that, he received a bachelor's degree in biology. He's one of the biggest vitamin mineral developers, the most successful in the country. Product developers, with a minor in chemistry from California State University, Fullerton, and received a bachelor's degree in dental sciences from the University of California, San Francisco. He has a bunch of other medical degrees as well. I won't get into all those, but he's one of the major formulators of things like the products longevity has, like Pollen Burst Plus, available, I should add, at InfoWarsTeam.com or InfoWarsHealth.com, but that's a side issue today. Dr. Gold, give us your report. You're there in the area. You live there. You're a syndicated talk show host out of California. You've got the sources. What is going on?
Well, I'm sad to say that I was only about 5 miles away from the first killing of the Cal State Fullerton coach. That was the daughter of one of the police gentlemen involved in this whole problem. And I've had a bird's eye view. I know most of the people here in the media. And if you listen to talk radio here in Southern California leans as far left as you can possibly lean, they were screaming up and down for gun control. They were screaming up and down for drones in the air to protect us from people like Christopher Dorner. They were screaming for the military to be brought in. There's one guy loose in a population of 30 million people, and they were crying for the military to be brought onto the streets to keep us safe. It was insane over here, and the amount of police activity in Southern California was just intense. People were they were almost like purposely keeping the average population nervous on purpose. They just sent squads of cars, like almost seemingly in every direction, and they were stopping the freeways. It was almost like the entire city was being kept on hyper alert, like we're being invaded by Japan or China or something. And there was one guy, of course, he was a dangerous, crazy person, loose somewhere. And what was interesting was, I saw the fire from where we live, and we were watching it on TV as well. And it was happening literally minutes before Barack Obama walked on to do the State of the Union address. It was almost like the opening act for the State of the Union. It was like it could not have been timed better. There is, this crazy ex-veteran, Christopher Dorner, who's killing people, running around as a menace. And then all of a sudden you have President Obama walk onto the to the floor of the House of Representatives talking about gun control and the use of drones. I mean, he didn't say drones in his State of the Union, but we all know that he's for drones. We all say that Bush is bad. I mean, Obama has expanded the use of drones like Bush was a piker in the use of drones.
Dr. Gold, I got to stop you. You just convinced me this may be staged, even though the MO, he's an Obama supporter, he's an anti-gun guy. It makes the cops look bad, but the way it was all perfectly scripted, because no one watches the State of the Union anymore, it's a big joke. No one watches CNN, MSNBC. Perfectly scripted where that happened, right up to where Obama was on so everyone would watch him. Wow, that is, again, it's the scripting that's always the sign. What's your gut on this?
You know, I think Dorner was a loose screw. Do I think he was manipulated? I don't know. The timing on it was, you couldn't have a Hollywood production that was timed any better than literally the cabin on fire, the villain burned to death, you know, going out, killing cops on his way out, as the President of the United States walks on there telling us that he can keep us safe by putting drones in the air, by taking more of your tax dollar, by growing the government, by having more foreign wars, and, of course, taking your guns. I mean, it was almost like, you know, like you couldn't have a Spielberg script any better.
I'm just speechless right now. What about the police shooting up innocent people that didn't even match the description and now saying they didn't burn him out?
Well, about that, I think they kept the average police person such on edge. They thought every person in every pickup truck might have been Christopher Dorner. I don't know if those people did it on purpose. My guess is they were just so frightened that they started shooting because it's put into their head that, you know, the evil axis that, you know, had landed in Southern California. What he's talking about is that there were 2 women delivering newspapers, and the police shot at them multiple times thinking they might be Christopher Dorner, and they were just 2 women delivering newspapers in the morning, and they really shot up their vehicle pretty bad. I don't know if that was connected or not, or just, you know, police that were scared of what was happening.
No, they did. And then there was other cases as well of this mass insanity. What do you think about the fire?
My personal opinion is they burned the place down. It's not the first time we've seen the U.S. government use those tactics, and it won't be the last time we've seen the U.S. government use those tactics.
Now we talked to you yesterday, and you said you were talking to locals, talking to others. What other tidbits do you have on this?
Well, you know, one thing is that the media out here has made Christopher Dorner a celebrity. And there were people rooting for Christopher Dorner because he was fighting back against evil police, almost once again pitting civilians against the police, trying to create that divide. You can't trust anybody. Blacks against whites, whites against Japanese, police against, you know, the average citizen, us against Russia. You know, that conquer, the divide and conquer type of mentality. And people were saying that the police deserved it. It was like almost like a game show going on. It was like a reality show playing out in Southern California. And some people were sad to see it end because it was kind of like a suspenseful game.
What is your take on Obama and all the legislation introduced to actually physically ban guns and make you turn them in places like Missouri and places like California is moving towards that legislation, Washington State? I mean, this is going to cause a confrontation.
Well, yes. I think that if President Obama had his way and could get away with it, they would confiscate all the weapons in the United States of America. That's what I think. I think he's taking a stepwise approach because he knows he can't do that, so he's getting what he can.
Is Obama worse than you thought he'd be?
No. I actually did think this is what Barack Obama's administration would be like when he ran, and it's coming through to fruition, and it's scary. It's scary. And what's worse is I don't know where we go next after Obama. Where's America going to turn 3.5 years from now? That's just a scary thought.
Did you see his State of the Union where he said over and over again, if Congress won't act, I'll just do it? I mean, whoa.
Right. Yeah. Why do we need Congress for? In fact, we could save their salaries, according to Barack Obama. We don't even need them. We could just do a cost-cutting save right there. Hey, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'll just do it anyway, so you might as well go ahead. But if you don't, I'll just go ahead by fiat. I'll do some executive order. I'll just do it through my legislative power.
One day they'll say it's a conspiracy theory that mothers ever breastfed, that water didn't have fluoride in it. and that you don't water your plants with Brawndo, and that there was ever even a Congress. And I'm not even joking. They're getting to that point now where they just bald-faced lie to us on purpose to get us used to it.
Well, no one trusts the government. I mean, you look at the statistics right now of people who actually trust the U.S. government, who are U.S. citizens, it's very low.
Well, they're extremists. They're bad people. They should worship the government. When we come back, I want to ask you about Dorner and people that are praising him. I mean, it's a lot of people. People I've run into are mad at me that I don't want to go kill people's daughters and things. It's just beyond bizarre. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here, back live. Your calls are coming up. And I've got to air this while Dr. Gold's on with us. I'll do it in the next segment. New York State resistance, I mean, all the big gun groups, the citizens, they're having rallies every couple days. They're going into the committee rooms saying, look, you're not getting our guns. And the government's bowing up, but then getting scared. I mean, the government is a bunch of crooks that see us as their food. And they've already gotten us in incredible debt that's not our debt, most of it, and they want to clamp down. History follows this exact pattern. We're going to talk about that coming up with Dr. Gold as well. But, you know, I asked you yesterday when we talked to you, well, I told through my producer that, hey, let's just not get him on about the Dorner thing. I want to get into some of the news you've been covering in medical and health stuff, and you sent me a whole stack of stories about the proliferation of school lunches not being allowed, first in Chicago, where the Mafia Don runs things, now proliferating all over the country. Where all this is going, the craziness, the drugging of the kids. We're going to get into some of that medical news here in a moment, but briefly in this short segment, what do you think about, really, because I saw it grassroots, it's real, huge support for Dorner, such hatred of the corrupt establishment that people would cheer on killing cops' family. I mean, that's even beyond what the corrupt police are doing, and it really shows this country's ready to blow, in my view. Your take on that?
Yeah, you have to question anybody who gets any type of enjoyment or supports somebody who kills somebody's daughter as a revenge. Somebody who would do that, I don't know where the mindset is. Here's a nice girl. She's a coach at Cal State Fullerton basketball team. Her father happens to be a police officer, and they murder her. And there's a large segment of the population that says that will show him. And I can't even understand that group of people. And yet there was a group of people, and you could look on Facebook and Twitter. You could even listen on the media calling in, which were kind of rooting for him as the vigilante, like he was somehow representing them by.
Oh yeah, I've never gotten this much heat probably on any issue, and it shocks me because I usually see stuff coming a mile away that I'm some type of bootlicking, cop-loving, I mean, a piece of garbage here. I don't like what the police are being turned into. I don't like where this country's going. But the lowest of the low target people's families.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an old rule. Don't mess with people's families. If you got a problem, come to me. You don't go after somebody's family.
Yeah, and a number of radio stations, even the biggest radio station here in Southern California, there was a debate or whether or not it was a racial issue going on here, because they were describing Christopher Dorner as a 270-pound African-American person and showing his picture. And there was a large number of people here in Southern California said, you know, this is racial profiling, this is stereotypical.
Yeah, you can't even say the description of someone. So I guess it's kind of political correctness that they pulled over the white guy, little skinny white guy, let him go, then rammed his car and shot him up. Maybe that's good. Maybe to show we're not racist, we should have maybe 10,000 white people a day killed in California.
Well, and what's interesting is he was out there saying, this is me, I'm Christopher Dorner, I have my 20-page manifesto, here's the reason I'm taking these actions in his mind. And yet when you say, this is the person who says he's doing it, this is the person we have on videotape, there are people out here calling radio shows saying that was a racist activity, just reporting who he was, and he admits who he is. So
meanwhile,
crazy.
a CNN panel member was talking about how this is great, like Django.
Right.
And
Django
like
Unchained.
I mean, this is the system, like you said, is trying to create division at every level. And I just hope people wake up to this and say no to it.
And one of the reasons I think he was so lionized is who did he support? He supported gun control, although he was killing people with guns. I love how when people are shooting people with guns and they're telling you take guns away from you. Second thing is he was supporting Piers Morgan. He was supporting the crazies of the crazies on the media. So we're now supposed to turn our attention away now that he's gone to those people to be our saviors, the Piers Morgan to save us all.
Yeah, Piers Morgan, who said on a show with Bissinger and Huntsman's daughter, they all agreed I should be killed and they want to kill me. And oh, that's funny, though. Can you imagine if you or I said kill somebody? I mean, we would be arrested within a day.
There's a huge double standard what's going on. When President Bush was in office, there were literally the news were telling us every day how many people were dying in Iraq and in Afghanistan and around the world, and they were demonizing him. Today, we don't hear that, yet we're having deaths of American soldiers all over the place because it's Obama's war now, so it's good death.
Not a war, a peace action in Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Mali, and that's peace.
Right.
That's peace, carpet bombing areas of Tripoli and other areas. How dare you? That man deserves more peace prizes. I say every bomb he drops, every drone attack on a family, he should get another peace prize. I say with inflation, 1 trillion peace prizes. Oh, yeah. And she's like, oh, Piers, you wear the uniform when you're doing. He's like, yeah, yeah. Can't tell you how many times I've been in a demonstration or covering an event, and my camera's off and somebody punches me in the arm or grabs my shirt. I turn around, they just look at me and they go, when we take over, you and your family are dead. And I'm like, oh, you're real powerful. Oh, let me guess, you're here with the police. They'll be the fake liberal activist leaders, and the police are there to back them up. Don't even know why they've been told to back them up, but it's under orders, trying to get me to punch them in the nose so they can take me to jail. And then they also set me up and do stuff like kill Michelle Malkin, so I get blamed for it. Behind me going, kill Michelle Malkin, kill Michelle Malkin. I knew it was a setup because an hour after I left, before it was even on YouTube or on the news, the Denver Post calls me. That was at the DNC in 08. And they go, well, Mr. Jones, we heard you said kill Michelle Malkin. And I went, that was like, I looked at my watch, I go, that was like an hour ago. An hour ago. This is a setup. I did not say that. There were guys behind me who weren't with me screaming it. Can you prove they weren't with you? And I was like, what? Then like 10 minutes later, Extra already had my number. We'd like to drop by and do an interview with you about what you did. And then they came by. I met them at the apartment we'd rented because the hotels were all full. They show up. The guy laughs at me, leaves. They put on the news. Alex claims he didn't say kill her. And I was trying to show the guy the video on our camera. Thank God it got out. The guy that fills in for Rush Limbaugh came out and said I said it. I'm already digressing. I'm having flashbacks to things that have gone on. The point is that they all, I'm not exaggerating. I've probably been told by so-called leftists 20 times that they want to kill me. And it's a standard deal. See, they fantasize about when they've got the guns and everything you produce is theirs. They're authoritarians. There isn't left and right when you really get down to it. There's freedom and there's slavery. The Nazis were called socialist, but the media calls them fascist. Same thing in the final equation. It's just different ways you arrange deck chairs on the Titanic. It makes me sick. I'm so tired of it. I want to go to Dr. Gold. I got your calls. We're loaded. I got a bunch of health news. I got Joseph Farah coming up. Briefly, we are listener-supported here, and for TV viewers, we'll roll some of this video. We carry the Pro One best gravity-fed filter stainless steel out there. You're going to find anywhere with the new Pro One system that cuts out the hydrofluorosilicic acid, not just the fluoride. We've got the new Obama Joker Tyrant shirt with the Come and Take It on the back, bestseller, InfoWarsStore.com. We've got all the other books and videos and strategic relocation and why the tyrants want your guns. By the way, the local newspaper published a deal about how my magazine shouldn't be allowed on the streets of Austin. I forgot to get that article and cover that. I'm going to cover that next hour. See, I can't even keep track of this anymore. The point is these people, and they say, and I bet Alex says this just proves that liberals are authoritarians, but we don't want your magazine on the streets of Austin. We need people to not allow his magazine on the streets of Austin. I mean, this is just amazing, and they're trying to get them off the streets. People are stealing them, covering them up, throwing them away. The establishment is, because I put 60,000+ on the streets of Austin, 20,000 on the streets of San Antonio. The point is, these people are authoritarian demons, and the Second Amendment is there to protect us from them. So InfoWarsStore.com, ladies and gentlemen. And lastly, I love Pollenburst so much. I'm going to be honest with you. I approached Dr. Corey Gold. He's not here to infomercial today, but it is a sponsor, and it's awesome. This is the best energy drink out there with the bee pollen and all the other trace minerals and vitamins and vitamin A, B1, B3, B6, B12, and just huge dosages. Vitamin D3, a small amount, 75 milligrams of naturally occurring green tea-based caffeine and some other stuff in it. And it only has, you know, a tiny amount of sugar in it to make it sweet. And I can't take regular energy drinks. This stuff is amazing. And he said, well, it's funny. You say you like pollen burst so much and would like to endorse it. We're coming out with one that has extra antioxidants in the New Zealand, what is it, current blackberry. I forget. The point is, you know, I like the old-fashioned kind with the berry burst flavor. Pollen burst is powered by bioavailable super oxide. I'm going to have him break it all down with it here in just a moment. The point is that it's awesome, and it's all available at InfoWarsHealth.com. That's InfoWarsHealth.com, and your purchase supports the broadcast. You can also sign up there and get free shipping when you sign up for auto shipping, and sign up and be a distributor and get even bigger discounts as well. And I know you didn't come on about this, but Doc, tell us a little bit about Pollen Burst Plus and some of the other products you formulated that are available at InfoWarsHealth.com.
Well, the best, you know, you've been talking a lot on your show about what's happening with the medical systems. I got stacks of things that we'll go over at some other point of newspapers admitting that literally 1,000 people a week die from medical errors, not from being really sick and dying in the hospital, but from errors and different things that are going on in the way our food chain is being degraded. Go to dredgereport.com right now and look at how much they're finding out that horse meat is all over the food chain right now, but supposedly the government's protecting you from horse meat, but it's literally everywhere.
And it's filled with dangerous horse drugs.
It is. And we now know that there's actually pharmaceutical drugs in the water supply of 26 major cities and probably the rest as well. So what we're advocating is do things to protect yourself. Go out there and take things that will, you know, help boost your immune system and give yourself the vitamins and minerals and essential fats you need. And one of the products that you talked about that's available at InfoWarsTeam.com is Pollen Burst Plus. And Pollen Burst Plus is a product that we talked about for a long time and came out with in Like Mind here. And the ingredient you were talking about was called superoxide dismutase. And that's a really very powerful antioxidant. And I know it sounds scary. Superoxide dismutase sounds like something like, you know, from a James Bond movie, but it's really something that your body makes itself. Your body makes 3 different types of antioxidants to protect yourself. The most important one that your body makes every single day is superoxide dismutase. And this is a product that contains a bioavailable form of it, so your body can use it. And that's what's important. So when you have an immune reaction and you need to fight off something, you have those.
Yeah, tell us about the berry, why it's so supercharged. What type of berry is that?
It's New Zealand blackcurrant, and that's a very powerful antioxidant source. And certain fruits and vegetables we know have a lot of antioxidants.
But there is one product better. Fruit Loops is more healthy.
Well, Fruit Loops, because it has the word fruit in it. So, of course, it's got to be good for you because it has the word fruit in it. But no, Fruit Loops is.
I'm joking. I'm sorry.
Because somebody's going to listen and go, Dr. Gold says to eat Fruit Loops. No, don't eat Fruit Loops. But, you know, there's certain foods that have strong antioxidants. Your body needs antioxidants, especially nowadays. I mean, look at what's coming at us. Every time you breathe, every time you drink water, every time you take food, you don't know what's in it. So your body has to be prepared to deal with it. And Pollen Burst Plus and the Alex Pack as well, which is a complete daily source of nutrition, from the omega oils to the calcium, magnesium sources to the 90 essential nutrients that people need for life, all can be found at InfoWarsTeam.com. But what we're doing is we're simply trying to go back to say we need to eat things that make sense, and we need to get our nutrition, that's vitamins, minerals, essential oils, and you're not getting it in the fast food line. You're not getting it from the can that you're eating. You're not getting it in the things that the schools are giving your children.
But the government says that genetically modified organisms are good for me, and they say aspartame and sodium fluoride is good for me. I mean, they wouldn't lie to me. They never lie to us. They didn't burn down Dorner's cabin.
You know, that's one that I got a bone to pick with. I mean, there are certain things that they tell us that we need to do that are so backwards that it makes your mind blow. And you have to ask yourself, why do they say that? Are they just that naive, or are they that diabolical? I like to think naive. You probably go diabolical, but whatever reason is, it's bad. and we're not getting the things we need from our diet. Every person intuitively knows that. They know that when they go through the drive-thru, they know that when they see the food that looks funny in the store, like why does it have that great color to that fruit? It's been sitting there 6 weeks and it still looks brand new and delicious. Why does that thing have a 3-year shelf life when it's something that in real life would go bad in 3 weeks? All those things are bad for you, and we know it. We know it. They're cheap foods, and we know it.
Well, that's like Super Size Me. All the other hamburger brands under glass rotted. It didn't ever rot. It's eternal.
Oh yeah, I mean when you look at a Twinkie and it says, this will put it in your your kit in case there's an earthquake because it'll last forever. Nothing. Food degrades over time. And if you cut a good apple up and you stick it outside, you come back an hour later, it's gray, and there's a reason. It's degrading right from that very moment.
It's oxidizing. It's alive.
Exactly, and you want living food, and you don't want food that's synthetic, and you want to avoid GMOs. I don't want food that's been hybrid with an insect.
You know what? I think you're being an extremist. I saw where they're coming out with insect viruses engineered into the food to forcibly give us vaccines, and that these things are already in the food chain. I think that's great to have Bill Gates forcing viruses into me through my food, and I just, sure his dad ran Planned Parenthood, sure he's a eugenicist, I think he's a loving person. And would you like to take time out to apologize to the establishment? And come on, you know you want genetically modified insect viruses in your food. Dr. Gold, just admit it. It's normal.
I can't even do that because somebody will cut this up and say that I said that. But I'm so opposed to that. My God, they're saying it's natural to take a beetle and to put it onto a ear of corn, and somehow that's nature's way of making things. That's not nature's way.
No, you're an extremist. Stop right now.
I am extremist. They're probably waiting outside my door right now. But, they're openly having conversations right now. It might be in the best interest of the public. We added lithium to the water, because where there's lithium in the water in higher concentrations, people are happier. And people shouldn't have sad emotions. And people shouldn't react negatively to bad events happening to them. And if we just gave everybody lithium in the water supply, people wouldn't care when you confiscated their guns, or when they didn't have food, or when they're, when things weren't going right for them. And don't people need to be happy? Isn't that the ultimate role of government, to make sure that everybody is happy? So wouldn't lithium be good in your water?
Sounds like freedom to me.
They're having these discussions in these councils. The same councils that said that abortion was loving are now talking about putting lithium in your water to keep you happy.
Well, also, since we last talked, now it's starting in Denver and other cities, not just Chicago, where parents can't pack their kids' lunches. I think that's totally reasonable. These parents are there to provide a child to the state, to be raised, to be part of the greater system. And you sent an email. You'd like to talk about that? I mean, would you like? I mean, that is extreme. You think parents should be able to pack lunches? Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, I get this crazy notion that I'm the parent and the school is there to, teach my children, but I'm the parent.
Very extreme.
And I know I'm crazy, because nowadays there's two reasons why the schools, in my opinion, are confiscating school lunches. One is power, is that your parents are not your parents. We can control.
Two is money.
You got it. That's number two. If we can make all the kids eat school lunches, we just get more money from the government that we can dole out to our friends, and we can decide where this money goes.
More kickbacks on the horse meat.
You got it. So if we decide that all people have to eat government lunches, that means bigger government programs, bigger tax increases, so that we can feed the children the foods we want them to be fed. And we'll show you who's in charge of your children.
Yeah, the new report is North Carolina school officials. Notice they're not servants, they're officials, and we're civilians here in the military occupation. Let's go to some other news here. What's some of the other medical and health news you've got for us? There's a big stack of it here.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones, and it makes me crazy that no one grabs upon this. There was and your group has it there. It's a USA Today article that says between 50,000 and 100,000 people die every single year in the United States from medical accidents. Okay, these are not people that were sick and died. These were people who died from medical accidents. That's roughly 1,000 a week on the low side. Could you imagine if 3 people died from taking a vitamin? If 3 people died from taking a vitamin, the government would shut down every vitamin store in America because 3 people had died from a vitamin.
What about the death panels now where they're confirming, well, you know what, you're 65, you don't get that eye surgery now. Even if you have the insurance, they're going to say we don't authorize it. And now the payroll tax is going up. The nightmare of the total government takeover, your medical records to the IRS. I mean, it is all beyond bizarro what we're putting up with. And these idiot Obama supporters really thought they were going to get something free.
Well, I think some people would justify in their head, well, if we kill these old people, there'll be more money for us. Therefore, we can get a second Obama phone or maybe an Obama iPad or something like that we can have now if we get rid of all of these people. I bet you there's a certain group of the population that would say if we increased abortions and got rid of everybody over age 70, if they were told they would get an extra $5,000 a year benefit, they'd say that was a great idea.
Oh, no. They've got a big bioethicist group coming out, as you know, saying kill babies up to age 3 if you want. And then now they've got globalists out saying expert, combat terrorism with highly drastic population control. Just get rid of people, and then you won't have any problems. I mean, this is wild authoritarians, but as long as they call themselves liberal, we just fall down and do whatever they say.
And the last time we heard this logic train going down the track, it was Adolf Hitler. And Adolf Hitler was talking about, well, you know, these people are mentally incapable. We'll just kill them. And these people are a drain on society. We'll
it started with bioethics death panels that first started in 1934 Germany. For those that don't know, there's many documentaries and books on it, on record. And they take your kid, if they made bad grades by like 38, it got so bad. First it was the mentally retarded, then it was the deformed, then it was, you know, if you had a cleft foot, and then it was, oh, we're taking Junior for testing, and it would be like, oh, your son died of a heart attack. They'd give him these death receipts.
And they justified it, saying at the end of the day, we're just going to have smart, able, intelligent, physically fit people. We're going to remove from the gene pool everything that we don't like. And eventually that became everything but a very small subset. And, you know, here we are today saying, you know, the government's taking more and more control, but it's for your own good. And I can't think of a single program in the United States that was ever taken over by the government that's better than it was when it was private. And the government did it for more effectively and more cost effectively and more efficiently. Nothing. So I can't see why people would want to turn more power over to the government.
By the way, here's the Austin Chronicle that I've talked to people on the inside do not like the fact we're putting 60,000+ free 60-page color glossy magazines on the street to wake up the socialists and globalists around here. And I've talked to people who say that their liberal parents and stuff who aren't liberals are getting very, very upset about this and are upset that it's so well done. They actually published a letter to the editor saying, I've noticed the stacks of free copies of the Alex Jones fear-mongering rag. InfoWars have popped up everywhere around town, from Dragon's Lair to Pluckers. Anyhow, but not surprising, as Austin is his home turf. What is surprising is how many storefronts are so readily willing to distribute extremist literature on their premises. Let's face it, that's all InfoWars is. And it sure isn't helping bring the bitter political divide they want to make us all submit. Bridge the bitter political divide we've all had to deal with. See, we need to submit, and then there'll be peace. I encourage anyone with a similar mind, or just a working one, to offer polite feedback to establishments handing out this derisive crap. Of course, free speech goes both ways, and if InfoWars is your bag, well, let me know and grab your free copies before Obama overturns the First Amendment. Jay Davis. So he's saying, get rid of our free speech, shut us down, burn our books. But it doesn't exist. We're conspiracy theorists, Dr. Gold.
You are.
No, I mean, we are so bad. I mean, you know, we think they want to take our speech, but they do, but we're still crazy because we say they do. You know, I'll have to jam it in next hour because Joseph Farah is only joining us for about 35 minutes. I need to get to the Obama State of the Union as well, your calls. There's just too much to cover here, but the news is just getting so crazy. The system is trying to create racial division. The CBS 4 reporting parents complain about school ad excluding whites from tutoring program, saying it's for black students only. And see, that's the political correctness, but then it's not that they actually want to give black people something extra. They want the state to fully absorb blacks because that's the group they've been targeting with eugenics from day one. It's not like, oh, we want to give you some free goodies. No, we want your kids all the time. I say that's a great idea to be excluded. They want the kids in school year-round, and they want them till like 8 at night. That's the globalist model where the parents have... So see, but this is so perfect. Now, hey, that's racist. We want our kids at your school nonstop. Dr. Gold, your take on that, and then we're going to take some phone calls.
You know, it's interesting. They've created this division where groups believe that they need extra help. And yet, on the other hand, they don't want to be called less than. The reality is that every group and every people, if they work hard, will do well. There's brilliant white people, brilliant black people, brilliant Asian people, and we just got to let those people do their thing. But we create this horrible culture for that group that they feel that they need this, and they don't. And, you know, I thought it was interesting how Bill Cosby was demonized for saying, hey, listen, to my own group of people, you know, husbands, stay with your wives, be fathers, and kids go to school and put value on education. And that was considered to be, he was a turncoat on his own group for saying, you know, we should have husbands and wives staying together, parents should be parents, and kids should get education. And he was demonized by the mainstream for that, which makes me crazy.
Punching up Infowars.com for people watching at PrisonPlanet.tv. Missouri Democrats call for gun confiscation. The legislation has been introduced. The denial is over. And I count 6 other states with similar legislation. But then they say, we're not coming for your guns. You've just got to physically turn them in. Dr. Corey Gold joining us, advisor at InfoWarsHealth.com, syndicated radio host. What do you think is going to happen if they keep pushing this gun confiscation? I mean, it's clear. I think they want to start a civil war in this country. They're already billing Obama as the next Lincoln.
Yeah, and there's talk now, even on talk radio, about, you know, should Obama, you know, he has such a big job to do. Should there be a 3rd term for Barack Obama?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't want that, you're racist, too.
And maybe we'll get around it by electing his wife, but let him really be in charge of everything, because that would be still legal. So it's interesting to see where we're headed. You know, now Hillary Clinton's looking like she wants to make a comeback. So it's the same 3 or 4 families seeming to rule everything.
Don't forget Janet Napolitano.
Oh, yeah, Janet Napolitano. So you have Bush 1 and Bush 2. Then you have Clinton 1 and you have Clinton 2. Now we might have Obama 1 and Obama 2. And yet, you know, people don't seem to see that.
We know Obama is definitely taking a number 2 on us. Yeah, you're right. This is his 2nd administration. I'm sorry. But I mean, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that, because he is just a puppet. But the way they can use him to create all this division, it is incredible to watch this unfold.
And then he puts up Brennan, you know, for nomination right now, who was totally in favor of all of these drones. And we know that we've had drones kill Americans on command, not by accident, but on command. So the president of the United States ordering the, you know, our military to fire on Americans.
Well, hey, that's what freedom's all about. We're going to come back, try to jam in some calls here for Julio. Who else been holding the longest? Steve, Nick, Jason. And we'll also talk to Rob and others. Jason wants to talk about a drug commercial he heard. Hey, I love the side effects for these prescription drugs. There aren't any side effects for the vitamins and minerals, folks. All right, let's jam in some phone calls, and I'll get to the others that are holding too. I apologize. I'm out of control. Dr. Corey Gold's our guest here today. Let's talk to Jason in Tennessee, then we'll go to Julio and others. Jason, you have a comment for Dr. Gold. Go ahead.
Yeah, Alex, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, my friend. Go ahead.
Good, good. Yeah, I hadn't seen it before since a couple of weeks ago. I'm sitting at work, and I see a drug commercial come on TV. It was so out of it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I couldn't get the name of the drug or the name of the condition. But they said, do you ever laugh? Do you ever cry? You could have this condition. Ask your doctor if this pill is right for you.
No, it's like signs that say, had trouble reading this? You have bad eyesight, and it's blurred on purpose. Like having a heart attack, come into us so we can kill you. And it is this incredible deception. In fact, they have in these psychological diagnostics. Do you ever get angry? Do you ever get upset? Do you ever get happy? Well, you're mentally ill and need serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Dr. Gold, I mean, these are just cold-blooded companies shoving this down our throats.
Well, they want us to believe that we should have a perfect life with no emotions, or the emotions will always be happy. And they have these commercials that show these happy people doing happy people thing, riding jet skis, taking Corvettes, walking on the beach, you know, living the lifestyle. And they want you to think that if you take their pill, that's somehow going to be your life. It's foolish to think so. that you could take a pill and that would make your life perfect, but they brainwash you into thinking that's what you need to do.
We know what makes the establishment happy: stealing and endlessly lying and engaging in almost satirical level corruption. Thank you, Jason. Do you ever flip out, Dr. Gold, just at how bizarre it's getting, and that it's getting weirder and weirder? But see, we're the older generation now. The kids are growing up in this, and the globalists say that. They go, look, it doesn't matter if you don't buy what we're doing. It doesn't matter if it's absurd to you. We got your kids, to where the kids get arrested for bubble guns.
Oh, yeah, and they actually, you have a picture of a gun, you can get thrown out of school. A picture of a gun, like something that's out of a magazine.
Kids are now being arrested for water guns.
Or expelled from school, yeah, absolutely.
No, one got arrested for brandishing a weapon last week.
A water gun. Yeah, well, you know, where we go next with it. Probably the next thing is thinking about having a water gun is where you get arrested next. I had a doctor come up to me with a group of doctors saying, why do you do vitamins and minerals? There's no money in vitamins and minerals. The real money is in treating long-term disease. And I just said, you are evil. Leave me. We are doctors. Our whole idea is to help people feel better and not be sick. It's not about what will get us the biggest return on our investment of going to...
Well, that's why they got rid of the Hippocratic Oath of Hippocrates, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, which was do no harm. Now it's like, how do you find a way to make the most money off a certain condition? How can you drain the insurance of that individual before they pass away?
It's totally cold-blooded. We're caught between the corrupt insurance companies and the government. We're in deep doo-doo, as they say. Anyways, Julio in Illinois, you're on the air.
Couple quick points. Number one, you mentioned GMOs earlier. It's funny, a couple weeks ago, before the inauguration, I'm in D.C. covering a climate change conference for a documentary I'm doing, and I have a member of the United Nations, he works out in Africa, telling me how wonderful drought-resistant seeds are, how these type of seeds are going to help feed the world because of drought, because of human impacts of climate change, and how governments and private corporations like Monsanto are teaming together to help feed the world. Secondly, I was I was on a conference call yesterday with the CFR, and they were talking about climate change, promoting carbon taxes, and I even asked a question about geoengineering. And this guy from the CFR admitted to me that that is something that they are looking into to help stop climate change.
Yeah, they're already doing it. They put a big report out a few years ago and admitted they're already doing it, but that's called testing. See, when under U.S. Code Title 50, Chapter 32, subsection 1528, paragraph B, they can do lethal testing on you as long as it's testing. They can kill you. And I think that's reasonable. I think the government's God, and I think Dr. Corey Gold is an extremist. Don't go to InfoWarsHealth.com. Don't get Pollen Burst Plus, whatever you do. Oh, yeah. The adventure is real, not simulated. The New World Order's real. The tyrant, eugenicist, globalist, technocrats are real, but so are you. So am I. And so is Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily and the Western Journalism Center. And he joins us in a moment. And then we're going to break down some of the State of the Union address. I didn't get to it all yesterday. The open dictatorial swagger that we're now seeing more and more. I also have several new affiliates I need to talk about and some stations in focus. But who knows, we'll get to it all. No rest for those that love liberty, because the wicked never rest, do they? No rest for those of us that want to live in reality, not under the delusion of tyranny. Missouri Democrats introduced legislation to confiscate firearms. The bill is introduced, remove the assault weapon in large capacity, surrender the assault weapon in large capacity magazine to the appropriate law enforcement agency, and they may have the votes, and the Civil War will start. We've got footage I haven't even gotten to that's up on Infowars.com of constitutionalists basically storming the Capitol, shouting down the gun grabbers in committees and press conferences, saying you're not getting our guns and not backing off, and the cops in the Capitol can do nothing. We have the power, and you're not getting our guns, scum. I thanked Piers Morgan behind the scenes. I said, listen, I know you're coming for the guns, and thank you for being out in the open about it. I said, you're a gangster, and you're going to fail. I said that to him at the end of the interview after he'd said, that's it, I panicked, get out of here. And by the way, I talked to CNN producers 2 weeks ago when I went down to South Texas, where Piers Morgan was at. They let me in the back door at the big gun shop, firearms, tactical firearms. And, you know, went in and surprised Morgan. I had to promise to be polite. You know, that video's online. But the producer, once the cameras were off, were, yes, you're right, it's the highest ratings we ever had. I want to get you back on, but certain people don't. Well, Morgan told me he didn't want to because I smashed his butt. And I haven't really been talking about that the last few weeks. But I wanted to ask Joseph Farah. I don't know what he's going to say. I haven't talked to him yet. I got him on about all this stuff that's happening, gun confiscation bills in Washington State. I mean, it is all on. I mean, these people are out of control. And folks are like, well, we'll start a civil war. They want that civil war. They want to brand him as Lincoln. We're all the evil Confederates. That's what they say on the news. The movies, all about Lincoln. This is the plan. I said it 4 years ago. I said it was a possibility that they were fantasizing about it. You know, not all their utopian fantasy dreams of the utopia for tyrants comes true because free humanity stands up against them. But Joseph Farah of WorldNetDaily.com, WND.com. No need to go over your bio for our audience of wonderful liberty lovers. What do you make of a best-selling author, I should add? What do you make of just the hyper-craziness we're seeing? Or do you not think things are kind of going into an even more bizarro, alternate dimension almost? I mean, where do you think all of this is going right now, Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily?
Well, you know what I think this is all about? I mean, number one, you've got the, the DHS stockpiling munitions and weapons, and you've got, all the legislation that's being talked about to confiscate guns, and really, I think it's about three things. One is intimidation. It's a trial balloon. I want to see what kind of resistance there is. And I thought one of the interesting things, I watched the State of the Union address, Alex, and I watched it on Bing. You know how Bing was measuring audience response? People were voting by the billions, by the way, on what they thought at various moments during the speech. The low point of his speech was when he talked about gun confiscation. And it wasn't just the Republicans and independents. It was the Democrats. Way down. It was like 75% negative overall. And the Democrats were, negative, far below the median line where it jumps from, negative to positive. I thought that was very encouraging. But I think, intimidation, trial balloon, they want to see what they can get away with. And the third thing is this is part of a long-term trend, and it's not just Obama. We can't just blame Obama or the Democrats, because we've been tracking this for years, and you know it too, that what we're seeing is the militarization of the federal government domestically. This has been going on for as long as we've been doing WND. We've been doing stories about this.
I remember in 96, 97, 98, you guys even carried some of the reports that we broke. What was it? Bresnahan was the writer about all the Delta Force business.
Exactly. Exactly. But we're talking about every agency of the federal government has police forces, armed police forces.
Well, here's the deal. It was creepy and unconstitutional 16, 17 years ago. Now it's on hyperwarp, and no exaggeration, several hundred times bigger than what it was. I mean, it is like a cancer racing.
That's exactly right. And it's because, look, Obama was very clear about where he stood on this when he ran for election the first time and when he ran for election the second time. And he figures he's got nothing to lose. He's termed out. And so he's going all the way with this.
He wants a domestic security force just as big, just as strong as our military.
That's what he said. Nobody knew what he meant. Nobody even listened to it, really. But what does that mean? And I think we can see it now. He wasn't really talking probably about creating one agency. It's all of the agencies together. And when you put them all together and you talk about the firepower that they have, it is pretty intimidating and pretty overwhelming. And it's not what our founders intended. By the way, is that a new slogan you guys use? Way to counteract 1984 or 1776. I just love that.
Absolutely. It was actually, I didn't coin that. I mean, I popularized it, but there was a economist. In fact, he was formerly a top Canadian economist who came out to my Bilderberg protest. He just died a few years ago. I forget his name. Aaron knows it. We asked him the name of the guy. He's actually in Endgame for a second.
We don't care. We'll just steal it from him anyway.
Exactly, but the point is, I'll always digress. He said, Alex, have you ever thought the answer to the tyranny of 1984 is 1776? and it's a great play on words, you're right.
It's beautiful because in a few words it tells us so much. The answer to tyranny, we don't need any new answers. We need the answers that, emerged really for the first time in world history in 1776 in the colonies of this great country. It's what set us apart from every other country in the world, in the history of the world, and that's what we got to get ourselves back to. It's so obvious, and the nice thing is I believe more and more people are seeing it, thanks in large part to your efforts, Alex, and other intrepid, independent media voices out there.
You're right, and it was Jeremy Wright, filmmaker and economist, who I got to spend a few days with there at Bilderberg in 06 and drink a few beers with. Really nice guy. He coined that. Okay, now expanding on this, I just don't want to steal stuff posthumously. Expanding on this, how do you think their power grab is going?
Well, I guess it depends on, it depends on us, really, how it's going. If there is not real grassroots resistance emerging, even in the form of civil disobedience and so forth, then they're going to steamroll right over us. I mean, I honestly, look, I'm sure you're a shooter. I'm a shooter. I go to the range once or twice a week. They're rationing ammunition because the federal government is buying it all. What does that tell you? I mean, this is crazy, Alex. And I don't think it's because, we bought so much ammunition and so many guns during the Christmas season. I think it's because of these DHS acquisitions and purchases and dozens and dozens of other government agencies.
Oh, yeah, every week it's like 21 million more, 50 million more, 10 million more, 300,000 more. I mean, it's up to 1.7 billion now in the last 15 months.
And that's just DHS.
That's just
DHS.
That's just DHS.
We don't have the figures yet for when you add up all the other agencies. And what you got here is essentially de facto gun control. It's de facto because if you don't have ammunition to fire, then you don't. What good is your gun? And
I talked to somebody who's worked inside Barrett in Tennessee. I'll just leave it at that. The 50 cal, and they said the government will just buy whatever they make to drive the price up. And it was 5,000, then 8,000, then 10,000, then 15,000. Then you just won't be able to get it because the government will buy whatever they've got as a de facto ban.
And whose money are they using to do that?
Our money.
Well, not really. They're just borrowing it, but in reality, it is our money, and that's a tragic irony here, and something we're going to have to figure out. How do we stop that?
I agree with you that it's up to us how this goes. I don't think it's going well for them, but they don't care. They're just committed, and they've got some fantasy that he's going to be Abraham Lincoln and defeat everybody. These people are really like Hitler turning east into Russia. I think they're about to have their Waterloo.
I was very encouraged by the response from the audience watching the State of the Union on that Bing thing. That was the absolute low point of his speech. By the way, the whole speech was bad and got negative response from almost all Democrats. But,
absolutely. Stay there. Joseph Farah is our guest. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this hour of broadcast is brought to you by the Squatty Potty, our new sponsor. All right, Joseph Farah is our guest. I heard that network ad and was laughing really hard. I'm sorry. What are they not going to think of next? I mean, I found myself laughing a lot more, Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily, because things are getting so crazy. What did you think of the whole Dorner situation, and then the police on now 6 different feeds saying burn it down, burn the house down, and they're telling us that's not what that meant? It was reminding me of Waco.
You're right. What kind of a diversion was that? What exactly, how else can you translate burn it down? I don't get that.
Exactly.
This is a really peculiar thing, and one of the other things that struck me about the Dorner thing, I wrote about this, is in his manifesto, he wrote about some people he really admired. And I noted that not one of those people, which includes both Barack and Michelle Obama, Piers Morgan, your buddy, Charlie Sheen, and others, out of all of the people he talked about who he liked, only Charlie Sheen actually tried to, help the guy, stop the guy, talk him down. Now, if there were a serial killer out there who said, I admire Alex Jones and Joseph Farah, I think we'd be pretty quick out of the box to say, you know what, I want to distance myself from that, and here's a guy who... And
what you're doing is wrong. Why didn't any of these 30 people or so come out and say, hey, buddy, don't do this?
And can you imagine the reaction if it were that way? This guy loved the gun grabbers.
And Obama.
But imagine if he admired Alex Jones and Joseph Farah. What would be the media reaction to that?
Well, what type of screwball thing is it that the citizens shouldn't have guns, but he's running around reportedly shooting people? It just shows.
None of this makes any sense. And let me ask you a question: do you believe that Barack Obama? Let's just use Obama as the personification of gun grabbing, but let's think of him as the guy who represents the gun grabbing community out there. Do you really believe that Barack Obama believes that if you disarm the citizenry, that you're going to have less crime?
No, it's all about authoritarian control.
That's exactly right. It's about fomenting chaos and rebellion so that tyranny will, succeed, arise. It's what all tyrants do.
Do you agree that they want some type of civil war to paint conservatives, libertarians as terrorists?
I think they want something very close to that.
Yeah.
And look, we're hearing calls, everyone recognizes that the most dangerous place in the world right now, perhaps, is Chicago. There are more people being killed in Chicago than in Afghanistan. So what is the solution to that? People like Jesse Jackson and others are saying, well, DHS ought to go in there and solve this problem. What does that mean? This is exactly what they want the federal government to answer the problem. So they create the problem, and then they provide the solution, which is federal control over everything.
Yeah, they're trying to push people into a corner, staged up if they have to, and then basically have this big clash of civilizations against old Americans with the new socialist America. Let me briefly ask you, because I really want your opinion on this. Mm-hmm. What was your view of what happened with Piers Morgan? Give me your honest answer.
You and Piers?
Yeah.
Well, you kicked his butt.
Well, thank you.
Ted Nugent. And if he's not going to have you back on again, you know what you should do? You should probably suggest to him, listen, I know you're afraid to have me back on again. I know this guy, Farah, he's a pushover. Have him on now to debate gun control.
No, he probably is afraid to have you on. No, that's the issue. No, they told me behind the scenes. I ran into him 2 weeks ago in Houston. His producers told me, we had the highest ratings ever. Think in 2 years of him, a flop, highest ratings ever, kept his ratings up for a week. But they're scared to have me back on. She said, we want you back on, but certain people don't. He told me, he said, I don't want to give you more attention like he gives me attention. No, when I go on there, he gets attention.
Well, the problem on this issue is, there is no intellectual, rational argument for gun control. I mean, what are you going to say? Are you going to say that it will reduce crime? All the statistical work has been done on this. The historical evidence is in. The verdict is in. I mean, it's just the opposite and I believe Obama knows that. I believe, maybe Piers Morgan doesn't know that. Maybe he's too stupid to understand it. But the people who are shaping this policy right now in this country, they know that. And it's really about fomenting chaos and civil strife.
Absolutely. Let's come back and take a few calls for Joseph Farah and myself on the other side. Then he's got to leave us. I'm going to break down some of the State of the Union. We have a clip of that coming up after the break. Stay with us. We got a clip of Obama I want to play and then take a few of your calls. Joseph Farah's got to leave us then, and I'll get into the State of the Union and more calls. Really just an unbelievable State of the Union. So amazing that I don't even have words to describe it. But more and more, I do think mainline conservatives are finally getting that the establishment the big banks, the powers that be, they want a tyranny. They don't want a free market system. So I am hearing more and more of the big shows on radio admit that, okay, the government wants to destroy jobs, wants us dependent, and people are really getting that's not just a throwaway line, Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily. This is really happening. And so I do see the public really getting the fact that your low-level government folks and corporate people aren't bad, but up at the top, it is a bunch of gangsters, and I just don't see them getting away with it. I want to play this clip, but what do you make of him saying if they don't accept his green takeover, the shutting down of the power plants, all the rest of it, that he'll just act alone? I mean, isn't it time for Congress to move on so many fronts with articles of impeachment?
Why is John Boehner sitting there just, listening to that stoically? And the answer is that John Boehner and Barack Obama have a lot more in common than separates them. That's the problem. They're both establishment guys. They both recognize that they are on the side of the multinational corporations. By the way, there was one line in the speech, Alex, which I don't know if you caught, went by very quickly. I didn't catch it the first time. Obama mentioned the pushing for the Trans-Pacific trade agreement.
No, I did. And these new global job zones.
Yeah. I got to tell you, this is something that has to be stopped, because this is the way that world government comes about. And every one of these so-called free trade agreements is anything but free trade. Every one of them has been a disaster.
Oh, they're one-sided deals where only insiders can operate, as you and Dr. Corsi have really been at the head. WorldNet Daily has been at the very head of shooting down so many of these power grabs like the NAFTA superhighways, but it doesn't matter. They just come back again.
That's right. It's the exact opposite of what our policy should be. Our policy should be, the way the government used to raise money, through tariffs. We let foreigners pay our government bills, and it keeps the government bills under control that way. Not direct taxation through the people, not borrowing money endlessly from banks and from foreign countries. Let them pay to get into your marketplace. And other countries can do it as well. That's
plus, we can't compete with Al Gore running factories, literally, that have suicide nets around them.
Exactly.
And they work 18 hours a day, and it's not even helping the Chinese. It's like we're lowering down to their standard. I want to put an image up for TV viewers. And I don't usually get into comedy, folks, but I'm doing it more and more, or I'm going to go insane. So I've just got to have fun with this. I'm not going to be angry like I've always been, at least all the time, because my health, I can't do it. What is Boner, his real name? What is John Boner? What is he doing with like a flying saucer lazy Susan with salt and pepper shakers and drinks and things? I mean, I've never seen him where it looks like he's eating a steak or something. He has like some kind of weird high-tech, like you'd see at a diner or something in the middle of the table. Did you notice that? What the hell?
I wish I could see the TV. I'm not watching you right now.
Well, just go look at the State of the Union, and then hiding in plain view, it's like, they've got a rim up there so they can have their glasses down below, but they always set them up on top. And then Boehner's sitting there with some giant silver thing, it looks like, with like salt and pepper shakers in it. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just everything's getting weirder by the minute.
Unbelievable. Well, the real contrast in that speech, I wish everyone could have watched it the way I did, which was on Bing, where you saw the public's reaction versus the reaction from inside the House and Senate. I'm including both Republicans and Democrats, because there's an awful lot of applauding going on by Republicans in there. And yet you look at the reaction of the American people, and it was just the opposite. They're wondering, what is all this applause about? We don't like the direction of the country right now, and they're applauding not just a continuation on this road, but an acceleration on this path to destruction.
But they're just going to keep telling us the recession ended 4 years ago. Everything is wonderful. We've never been at war with Eurasia.
The stock market is up.
Big Brother loves you, which it's up because it's got deflated, devalued dollars, and now they're admitting he's doubled the debt in the last 4 years. They're devaluing the dollar. I guess that's what they're getting the bullets ready for, is I guess they think when everything collapses, which is more and more looks like it's going to happen, they just think 1.7 billion bullets is going to, what is that going to do?
I can tell you how many off the record, yet substantive sources have told me just that. I wish, I could quote the people who were telling me, but you know how that is as a journalist, you can't do it. But over and over again, that's what I'm hearing from military people, from intelligence experts, that they are expecting a total collapse, and that's what this armament by the federal government is all about. That's what the gun confiscation is all about. They want to be able to, control it all, which to us means, of course, tyranny.
And, of course, they engineered the whole thing, and we're the ones pointing out that it was all leading to this, Ron Paul and others. But still, we're going to be the bad guys, even though we said, hey, this is being done on purpose. They're steering us towards a iceberg. Let's play this really chilling clip. He said this several times on cybersecurity, you name it, where if we don't basically go along, well, I mean, you saw the clips where he said on cybersecurity and other issues that he'll just do what he wants. I mean,
right.
Again, here's that clip. I'm sorry. Here, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to say, do you think he's going to be protecting your website and my website from cybersecurity attacks? I think his protection is going to be very selective. And let's face it, the federal government is no good at any of this anyway. They can't even protect the Defense Department's own computers. So, now they're going to protect, corporations' infrastructure. It makes no sense.
Do we have that clip ready? Is it time now? Can we play it? No, I want to go to that clip. Here we go.
Now, the good news is we can make meaningful progress on this issue while driving strong economic growth. I urge this Congress to get together, pursue a bipartisan market-based solution to climate change, like the one John McCain and Joe Lieberman worked on together a few years ago. But if Congress won't act soon to protect future generations, I will. I will direct my cabinet to come up with executive actions we can take now and in the future to reduce pollution, prepare our communities for the consequences of climate change, and speed the transition to more sustainable sources of energy.
All right, that's enough.
Yeah, there's another.
Now, the good news is we can make
way.
meaningful progress on this issue while driving strong economic growth.
Another low point in the public reaction during that speech was when he hit the climate change soundbite. People don't believe this. They know it's a hoax. And they reacted. I'm talking about Democrats as well as Republicans and independents. They just voted negative, and his ratings during that whole part of the speech plummeted to the bottom of the pile. That and gun control. Those are two very, very unpopular themes, yet they keep on pushing them. Now, I think it's the same old thing, because what is this climate change thing all about? It's about only the government can take care of this, right? The government first of all, you got an imaginary problem. This one they didn't even create; they just invented it. And the answer, of course, is basically taking all the control of the means of production and everything out of the hands of ordinary people and putting it in the hands of the bureaucracy.
Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily is our guest. I'm going to let him go ahead and get back to the work he's got to do. We'll take a few calls and play some more clips from State of the Union. Coming up, bringing jobs home means global centers for high-tech jobs, 15 zones in the U.S., which they'll exempt from taxes and regulations, but only insiders get to be part of it. I mean, this is just the ultimate form of discrimination. Isn't that what globalism is picking winners and losers? So they want us to obsess on black and white, or this group, that group, northern, southerner, westerner, while really it's about globalists who write the rules and then exempt themselves from it. I mean, it's so obvious.
It's so obvious that they want to divide us at home and unite us around the world. It's it's a total contradiction, no matter how you look at it. But that's the path we're on, and it's up to the people to start to get it and start to resist.
But, I mean, there's so many scandals in closing. We've got Fast and Furious. You've got Solyndra. You've got the military being told that they're under the control of NATO and the UN. You've got the government funding al-Qaeda now, and even General Boykin coming out against it. all this stuff going on, purges at CENTCOM, purges everywhere. I mean, historically, it's got all the signs of teetering on the edge, but the Republicans don't want to push it over the edge because they're bought and paid for by the same gangsters. I mean, it's just...
Let's not forget the targeted assassinations of American citizens. It starts with a guy who's obviously not popular with anybody in the American public. A guy who's got some unseemly connections. So you whack him, and you get away with it. Well, the next thing you can take out Alex Jones or somebody like us, and the precedent is there.
Do you think the Chris Kyle sniper getting killed that way, in all the different stories, a little suspicious? It's just really weird that that guy would get killed.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had him surrounded. It kind of is reminiscent of, well, I mean, it's, it might be a bit of a stretch, but, Waco, Ruby Ridge, back in the day, if government has all this force on its side, why does it have to resort to killing all the time? Why is that always the solution? Why not be able to take this guy alive?
You're talking about Chris Dorner. It's just amazing. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll talk to you again soon. Joseph Farah, thanks for spending time with us.
All right. God bless.
There he goes. Powerful interview with Joseph Farah. I want to jam in some phone calls now. And we've got a bunch of clips here from the State of the Union. Bringing jobs home means global centers for high-tech jobs, 15 zones in the U.S., and it just goes on and on. If the Congress doesn't pass green tyranny, then he'll do it. We already covered that. Let's cut our energy in half in the next 20 years. That's a quote. I mean, let's cut our energy. China can have all at once. India can have all at once. Mexico can have all at once. All these third world countries, but your energy's going to be way more expensive. I mean, that will shut us down. I mean, it's a simple 2 + 2 = 4. Transatlantic Euro trade partnership. That's Bilderberg, New World Order, UN. Protect the children, gun violence. This time is different. Overwhelming amount of Americans are coming together. Isn't actually what's true. The story about Sandy Hook victims who sang for Obama the week before repeats the deserve a vote many times. I mean, it just goes on and on, but we're going to get to that in a moment. Let's talk to Steve in Illinois. Steve, thanks for holding. You're a trooper. You're on the air. Welcome.
Well, I don't mind it because I remember before you had an InfoWars site. I've been following you that long. The thing is that it's Morgenthau. He needs to change his tune from God Save the Queen to Yankee Doodle Dandy. We're not under British mandate, and he's not going to enact any coercion acts or dangerous association acts or bloody Trafalgar Square or Welsh Tony Pandy, Scottish Highland clearances. I'm not going to go through everything. But the point is, this General Colin Polyps, he's inciting and agitating these Negroes by saying there's a black vein or dark vein of racism in the Republicans.
I remember you. You have been calling for about 15 years or 16 years. You always call in and talk about black people. Right? You've been listening like 16 years, haven't you?
Yes, I've been listening, well, yeah, a few years. Yeah, several years.
Yeah, you haven't gotten into the show in a couple years.
Well, that might be true. But the thing is...
No, but I mean, the issue is it's not black-white, though. They're trying to organize that and get that stirred up. I mean, I halfway remember your phone calls. Go ahead and finish your point.
No. Same thing with James Jackson Jr. He's a guy who's pleading insanity now to avoid federal prison because he was insane at the time of the crimes he hasn't been charged with, but he's going to be. But they have attacked the whites. And
how many polyps does Colin Powell have?
Pardon me?
In his colon. Colin Powell, how many polyps does he have? He needs a squatty potty, our new sponsor.
That could
Sir,
be
let me
true.
ask you a question. Do you have a squatty potty?
I don't want to check his stool specimen. But
that's enough. Folks, I'm sorry I've been screwing around and joking more and more on air. It's just I've reached a point. Get it off the screen. Get it off. Earlier, I hear this ad on the network. I'm like, what is that? And then it turns into this big debate. Chris is like, it's actually quite healthy. That's hilarious. And invariably the camping stories begin. Look, the whole point here is this place is out of control. We have uploaded my visit to the biggest grocery store, excuse me, biggest gas station in the world. And it's an important piece, and Piers Morgan appears in it. It is up at Infowars.com right now. See, folks, the problem is, you've heard Kevin Booth before, who produced Bill Hicks, say that I'm very funny in private. And I'm not saying I'm actually that funny. He thinks I'm funny. And Joe Rogan thinks I'm funny in private and said I'm very funny. What's happening is I'm actually acting like I really do in real life here, and this needs to stop right now. I just have kind of turned into like Daffy Duck or something. What's going on, dude? You're standing there like it's an important message. Is it a message from Clandethu? Is it important? It's for after the show? You like shooting the firearms yesterday, dude? You won't get to shoot firearms much anymore if they have their way. But they don't want our guns. All right, enough of that. Nick in Pennsylvania, you're on the air, sir. Go ahead.
Alex, first I wanted to say on this Valentine's Day, God bless you and your whole staff and all your guests.
Thank you, sir.
And also, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say that, are you familiar with Gregor Mendel?
You know, that kind of rings a bell. How do you... McGregor Mandel?
Yeah, Gregor Mendel.
No, tell me about it.
Okay. Gregor Mendel was the pioneer research scientist that crossed pea plants and helped to figure out DNA structure and that sort of thing.
Oh, yes, I am aware of him. That's why it rung a bell. Yes, I remember reading about him.
Okay. Well, I myself am a pioneer research scientist, and I'm kind of like Gregor Mendel. And see, as far as the GMOs, this should not be going on. You don't mess around with DNA. And they don't realize the problems they're creating.
Oh, you know what I think they do? I've had their top scientists on. They admit they can change one thing, but then it randomly changes a bunch of other stuff, and it's extremely dangerous.
Absolutely, it is dangerous. And see, this is some of the things that mainstream media won't talk to you. And by the way, I thank you so much, Alex, for letting me talk to hear an independent scientist that's against this evil science that they're doing. And one of the things that they're doing with this genetically modified stuff is they're touting, well, by doing this, we can spray less pesticides on the crops. And you know what? That is true. However, what they're not telling people is by doing what they're doing, the plant itself produces toxins that kill those pests.
No, I mean, I read a Washington Post headline about farmers not creating enough safe zones for insects just a few months ago because they have to plant crops just for the insects to eat that aren't GMO with the BT because it grows its own poison so the bugs can't eat it, but then we're supposed to eat it and then wonder why all these disorders are happening. You're absolutely right. And that's what's so crazy. That's why everything has just become so insane. And when you're informed, you can't believe how nuts it's already gotten, and you know it's just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. And it's all, and look, the elite know what they're doing. They've got underground seed vaults and bunkers, and they're all dug in, and they have their own non-GMO greenhouses, and from the communist Chinese to the British royalty to the American elite. I've done whole pieces on that, where they all are obsessed on non-GMO, all obsessed on pure water, rare earth minerals, I mean, all of it. They know what to do. And, I mean, this is a plan, sir. And see, so many scientists and doctors I have on, they go, I can't believe they know this. No, they're just stupid. I'm here to tell you, brother, they know exactly what they're doing. They are madmen. And when they release some horrible bioweapon, by accident or whatever, they're not going to be able to put out a fake press release saying, this didn't happen. The bioweapon isn't killing you. We didn't burn up Dorner. I didn't have sex with that woman. I'm a Nobel Peace Prize winner. This attack on Libya is not a war. Their baloney isn't going to work anymore. And my goal is for everybody to have a happier life, freer, more reality, live longer, have a great family, I don't care what color, religion. I don't think I have to lose something for you to gain. I know we can build the pie. I know we have unlimited potential. And I'm just so sick of it. And they're beating the racism drum and doing horrible things to white people now to try to get white people to hate other, quote, groups of other people. And it's the same thing back and forth, and it's desperate divide and conquer. While the real discrimination is the mega banks exempting themselves from all the taxes they've put on us to destroy us financially while transferring our money to themselves in corporate welfare. That is the big sin. I'm going to go to Rob and Bob and Frank and Randy here in just a moment. But right now, let's start playing some of these clips. Here's clip one. Bringing jobs home means global centers for high-tech jobs. 15 zones in the U.S. They don't tell you the same stuff that wrecked Jamaica, you name it. These are zones where no one else can operate, and the zones are exempt from taxes and regulations. Jamaica was a great place till they did this. It's happened everywhere. I mean, this is the globalist plan. It's not like this is my opinion. But he's acting like, hey, things are bad. Obamacare will give you free care, raises your taxes on poor people. I promise, no taxes on poor people. That's why it raises it on you. I promise, this is a real good deal for you. You're having trouble swimming? Here, let me chop your legs off. I don't care about you. I really do. Here is that clip from the State of the Destruction of America. Here it is.
So tonight, I'm announcing the launch of 3 more of these manufacturing hubs, where businesses will partner with the Department of Defense and Energy to turn regions left behind by globalization into global centers of high-tech jobs. And I ask this Congress to help create a network of 15 of these hubs and guarantee that the next revolution in manufacturing is made right here in America.
Okay, the next revolution. See, take your liberty, take your jobs, offer you more tyranny, another step down as the solution. Let's go to clip 3. Let's cut our energy in half in the next 20 years. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's go to that clip.
I'm also issuing a new goal for America. Let's cut in half the energy wasted by our homes and businesses over the next 20 years.
He doesn't mean cut wasted. He means he's going to increase the prices and cut off your power, period, except for government districts. Look at that pinhead holder.
We'll work with the states to do it. Those states with the best ideas to create jobs and lower energy bills by constructing more efficient buildings will receive federal support to help make
that means if
happen.
you're insiders, you get all the free cash. If you're not?
America's energy sector is just one part of an aging infrastructure badly in need of repair.
Yeah, it's aging, so you won't let us build anything new. Because look at the sullenness of Obama. He really loves lying to you and conning you, and the fact that you're so willing to be conned. How do people like $22,000 a year getting your payroll tax raised? He promised he wasn't going to raise your taxes. Promised he wasn't going to come for your guns either. But it doesn't matter, suckers. You're like, what, is Romney good? No, the whole thing was rigged. I don't like the fighter in the Don King fight that took the dive any more than I like the fake winner. Got it? The whole thing's a load of malarkey. Let's go to comprehensive immigration reform, total legalization, and the Republicans are running the hoax that, well, the mandate's there, and then the illegals will be legalized and we'll vote to take our guns. But that's okay, because who needs them? The government's going to protect us. Here's that clip.
Our economy is stronger when we harness the talents and ingenuity of striving, hopeful immigrants. And right now, leaders from the business, labor, law enforcement, faith communities, they all agree that the time has come to pass comprehensive immigration reform.
The bandwagon.
Now's the time to do it.
And he goes on, it's a longer clip, I won't have time to play it. The time has come to take your guns. But he doesn't want your guns, even though we have all the bills introduced and at the states and already passed in New York, arresting people for above 10-round mags, felony charges. I mean, it's on. It's on. But you're just supposed to. It's all right, though. It's all right. Let's go ahead and go to Transatlantic Euro Trade Partnership, which, again, is merging all these governments in one-sided deals, 50,000 pages long sometimes, where all these insiders are tax exempt. Great idea for you and your family, for the ultra-rich to be tax exempt, while raising taxes on people making $22,000 a year, because it's liberal. It's like, wait a minute, he's black and it's liberal. But he lied. It's liberal. Shut up, racist. But you raised it on poor black families. It's liberal. You're murdering blacks all over Africa. It's liberal. You're murdering people all over the Middle East. It's liberal. Listen, it's liberal. Let's go to this clip. Transatlantic Euro Trade Partnership. Here it is.
We intend to complete negotiations on a trans-Pacific partnership.
Oh, yeah.
And tonight I'm announcing that we will launch talks on a comprehensive transatlantic trade and investment partnership with the European Union.
Oh, yeah.
Because trade that is fair and free across the Atlantic supports millions of good-paying American jobs.
Oh, boy, goody. I'm sure that'll be a good deal. I will not raise your taxes, not $1. Not your payroll tax, not your Social Security tax, none of your taxes. I won't take your guns either. All right, I appreciate you holding so long. Rob in New Hampshire, we're in overdrive for you. Rob, you're on the air. You want to talk about a fake outbreak? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Alex, I just want to first thank you profusely for my people for the work and the words and the publicity you've put out there for sexually abused children. You do more on the national and now the global level of raising awareness than I could ever hope to do doing this full time.
Well, thank you. We're just trying to expose that a large portion of the ruling class are child abusers, and that's why they want power so they can get away with hurting kids.
Exactly, and I've got studies that would curl your hair. But listen, what I wanted to do is tell you, years ago, I did a study with a major university while I was a grad student. We examined what would happen to the transportation system if a outbreak or just word of an outbreak of smallpox was publicized. If CNN and everybody said, we've got three minor outbreaks of smallpox in O'Hare, at LAX, at Kennedy, what would happen to transportation? And clearly transportation was going to break down. Truckers weren't going to come to work. Warehouse workers.
Things will totally lock down if that happens, and that's what they're gearing up for, is to lock things down, whether they use that crisis or whatever, to teach us to learn tyranny and to learn that it's good.
Exactly, and bankers won't be coming in, and payroll clerks, everybody will be staying home, and it would be a bigger effect than a nuclear blast in one of our cities. It's frightening, the chain reaction it will have if they decide to do it.
Well, the point is, we can all speculate. They're gearing up like it's the end of the world, all over the planet. And the end of the world is the giant Ponzi schemes coming to a head, and they plan to use that crisis to bring us into even greater tyranny. And, we're struggling a bit here on the gurney while the vampire's trying to put his little fangs into our neck, and it's just time to wake up, folks. God bless you. Good to hear from you. Frank in Nevada, you're on the air. You want to talk about Dorner and the LAPD. Go ahead.
Yes, hi, Alex. I just want to say I'm calling as a private citizen. I'm active duty military, but I just want to say that it's wonderful how you are exercising your constitutional freedoms. You are why we do what we do.
Well, God bless you, sir. What else did you want to add today?
Okay, well, everybody keeps saying that, they can't understand why Dorner, they can't understand why Dorner, they can't understand why Dorner, and I think he was the perfect rogue agent. I think he accomplished exactly what he was supposed to. Think about it. Okay, first off, whether you think he's vilified or justified, it doesn't matter. He was entitled under the Constitution to a right to a fair trial by a jury of his peers and due process. Whether you agree with him or not doesn't matter.
And the precedent's now set for them to say, we're going to kill him, then kill him and say nothing happened.
Okay, now look at what the LAPD did, okay? He was one of their own. They recruited him. They trained him. I'm sure his background with them got him the access he needed in the Naval Reserves to do what he did for them and to hone his skills into the killing machine that they said he was, okay? So it's all about them, okay? He snaps, okay? Supposedly he snaps, okay? And then he goes off the reservation, okay? Now, he's black, right? And I got nothing against black people, I don't. But he's black, okay? Most of your militia movements are primarily constituted of white members, okay? They're not going to support him. A black cop wants to go rogue and kill other cops. They're going to say, knock yourself out. They're not going to get support of him. He's not an advocate of the Second Amendment, so the gun rights owners aren't going to support him because, God forbid, if they went killing gun rights owners, they'd have it.
So what's your bottom line? You think it's a psyop?
My bottom line, yeah, I believe it is a psyop. I believe that because think about what they did. They went out of their jurisdiction. They went into San Bernardino County, and even though San Bernardino had two officers that were down, one that was dead, okay, They weren't running around shooting up random. They weren't running around.
I hear you. I hear you. Beyond even what the immoral police are doing. I mean, this is a country that is demon-possessed. And see, folks are always like, well, which side do you take? You know, are you for this government or that government? This religion or that religion? This sect or that sect? Look, more often than not, it's that it's all bad. And it's different variants of it. The reason the police are dangerous is more and more they're militarized, more and more they're paranoid, more and more they're arrogant, and more they're trained when they want to search your car and you go, well, Fourth Amendment officer, what's your probable cause? Get out of here, you extremist. I've heard of it, you know. That if you're a real American, sensible, know what the country's founded on, know your rights, you're the enemy. And the system is maneuvering us into a confrontation with the police that is designed to cause a civil war in this country that they're going to try to trigger ahead of the economic collapse. So they don't get blamed for the economic collapse, which they know they've already engineered to consolidate power. See, people, I heard a talk show last night on 90.1 as I was driving home about 10 at night from work. And the talk show was from Australia. It's a pretty good show. I've heard it before, but it's aired local. And I heard him going, I disagree with Alex Jones. The martial law will be because of an economic collapse, not a civil war caused by gun confiscation. Let me explain something to you again, okay? These are complex issues, but they're also simple at the same time. They want to trigger a civil war as a political distraction from the foreign robber barons destroying the economy to consolidate it and to break the public and make us poor as a political tool. It's in the 112-point IMF plan leaked to the BBC in March of 2002 that I printed a transcript of, and the articles in my book, Descent into Tyranny, that's available to read as an ebook at prisonplanet.tv. And is online. And that we wrote another article on Monday about banks want global rioting for global civil war and civil war in the U.S. The next issue of the magazine coming out is going to cover this. It's more than one thing can go on. It's like in science. Part of a theory can be right from one area. Part of another theory can be correct. And then unify those fields. The system wants a civil war they're going to call terrorism, the feds against the terrorists, who are the states, libertarians, constitutionalists, conservatives, veterans, Christians, gun owners, born-again Christians, official Homeland Security documents. Remember Janet Reno on 60 Minutes in 1995 said, pull the clip up, we've played it before, Christians who believe in a second coming of Christ are cults, are cult members, and are the greatest threat. Now, here's another one. Washington state bill would make almost all gun owners criminals, banning almost all guns, SB 5737. But meanwhile, they're saying, we don't want your guns, we don't want your guns. That's why I blew up at Piers Morgan. He's like, nobody wants to take your guns. Really, you got a whole bunch of bills introduced to do it. You've called for the abolition. The UN has. Obama did as a state senator. Stop talking to me like I'm a 2-year-old. Do you understand, you filthy con artist? I'm sick of your crap. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, okay? I'm not under some trance where you burn things down and tell me you didn't burn them down. We have the stinking FLIR footage of them at Waco killing everybody. We have the Delta Force orders to go in and kill them. Came out in Congress. But they get on the news and say, the Davidians burned themselves up. And now they're all on tape saying, burn him up, burn the mother effer up, burn that house down, burn it down, get the gas, set the burners are set, the house is on fire. And I've got the sheriff of the Big Bear area on video coming up saying, hey, we didn't intentionally set any fires. I wonder if it would work with cops if you were robbing a bank, had big bags of money over your shoulder, wearing a little mask, and they got their guns on you, and they say, hey, stop, freeze. You go, no, I'm not robbing the bank. I'm not a robber. They'd probably say, you're right, he's not. Actually, they wouldn't, but if you were wearing a uniform, they might. If you had like a mustache and a bald head and were the square-jawed cop and said, I'm not robbing the bank, well, let us help you load that money up then. I mean, it is just getting ridiculous. It is preposterous. It is absolutely boulder dash, cockamamie, horse manure, baloney, fraudulent trash, and it's the same everywhere. People are delusional about their kids. They're delusional about their health. They're delusional about their paycheck. We're delusional about the dollar and the inflation and the doubling the national debt under Obama. And it's just going to go absolutely off the tracks. In fact, the train's already off the tracks. It just hasn't gone over the edge of the cliff yet. It's already gone off, and it's like, oh, you know where that's going. I mean, just get ready, strap yourselves in, because the country has gone collectively insane, like every other culture has, and I believe it's going to get 10 times worse before it gets better. It is going to just absolutely go into Bonkerville. Monday through Friday, we are here live, ladies and gentlemen. 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern, and of course, we also have the Sunday Get Out Alive. You don't want to have more people die getting in there. In the past, they burned the guy up. That's standard procedure. But the public, the sheep-like public's not supposed to know that. At Waco and everywhere else, Gordon Call case, so many others, they burn you up. They don't go in when you're in there. They burn you up. This is the tactics. And I guess as they try to confiscate guns more and more nationwide, and I've got that big stack of news, we're just going to see houses burned up, and, oh, he burned himself up, or, oh, we don't know why it burned up. And you can even have the cops in the future pouring the gasoline on the house. You know, in the case of Randy Weaver, it was caught on film. It's on YouTube. Just type in "chopper tries to burn out Randy Weaver." It has the big bladder. That's what they call it, a big bucket with another rope going up that they just pull, and it releases gasoline on the top of your house. Then they fire a flare into it. You got guys hanging out the helicopter with a flare, and they've got the bladder, and they're going to burn his house down with the little kids inside of it. Oh, you're going to stand up to us? You know, we shot your kid in the back and then shot your wife in the head, and now you're hiding out inside, so we're going to shoot you because we're such men. You know, Lon Horiuchi, the ATF sniper, yes. And because the news didn't follow orders to pull out, they got it on tape, and they couldn't burn him out. But this is getting crazy now in this country, where you could have them burning it down, lighting the match, doing it, and you see them with the match and the gasoline, but that is not what that looks like. Now, oh, well, okay, these are not the droids we're looking for. Move along, move along. This is what we're talking about, and we're going to be getting into all of that. Also, CNN panel says Dorner's alleged murder spree is exciting, like Denzel Washington movie. And I've seen this on Infowars.com, on PrisonPlanet.com. There's a minority of people in there. On YouTube, it's about half the people are like, how dare you, you establishment shill, you are scum, you have sold out, kill pigs and more pigs, kill, 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 let's burn them out, let's kill them, kill their families, kill, 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 kill. It's all over Facebook, all over Twitter. CBS News reported on it 3 days ago, like, it's kind of reasonable. The police are corrupt, and they're racist, so let's kill them. And it just adds to the Twilight Zone. You've got the cops shooting innocent people in cars that don't even match the description, and arrogant and delusional and disconnected from reality. And then you've got people that think the sense of justice against this haywire system is, let's kill cops' families. Oh, that's a really good idea. They show 4 to 6 p.m. and InfoWars Nightly News every evening at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, transmitted out to all the subscribers at prisonplanet.tv and InfoWarsNews.com. Okay, wow, another over-the-top, insane amount of news. I've got today's economic bombshell news, dovetailing with the news from yesterday about inflation worldwide, ticking up very, very quickly because of countries all in a race to devalue their currencies. This is being globally orchestrated, and the G20 admits it, Davos has admitted, and it only helps a select group of insiders in the monopoly crime syndicate. We're going to be getting into that. We have Dr. Corey Gold coming on. He's a talk show host, on 2 of our affiliates out in California, KSCO and one other. And he actually lives in the area of Big Bear, and he's actually been going there and talking to other witnesses and people, and he's going to be able to give us a report on that coming up in about 1 hour. Joseph Farah of WorldNet Daily, WND.com, will be joining us, because let me tell you, I mean, when he got on air before the election and said, if Obama gets in, total hammer down, they will confiscate the guns, they will start a civil war, they will try to arrest us. I was like, okay, Joe, yeah, that is a possibility. Sure, it's going that direction, but I'm still thinking he was being a little apocalyptic. He is dead on. And he's in D.C. He's got his ear right to the ground. He knows what is afoot. So Joseph Farah will be joining us to talk about what's going on in Bonkerville, Cocoa Puffville, crazy land that the United States is becoming. But it's not just here. All over the world, Western governments are just disconnected and getting more and more decadent and thinking everybody's believing their propaganda. Now, I'm going to get to this later in the hour. But obviously you've seen the FBI on TV saying, oh, they don't mean burn it down when they say burn that house down. But burn that house down. Burn down that cabin. Burn it down. Get the gas. Bring it in. Okay, set the burners. Okay, the fire is set. Okay, it's on fire. I mean, now I've got like 5 clips, different clips of them talking about burn that house down. And the news is like, burn that house down does not mean burn that house down. And it's just entering a whole new zone of they're so undisciplined. If you're going to burn the guy up because he's already killed, 4 people and injured 2 others and just killed a sheriff's deputy, and you don't want him to. It is your PrisonPlanet.tv memberships that fund so much of what we do here on this operation. And then we're more than happy for the TV show after it's aired live, then be leaked out onto the web to tens of millions of people. That's our goal. Things are really getting beyond surreal right now. They've had the FBI come out and say that police saying, hey, let's burn down Dorner's cabin aren't really saying, let's burn down his cabin. Burn that house down. Burn it down. Burn it down. We've got now 4 different scanner clips of this being said. And they just say, no, you didn't see that. It's literally a Jedi mind trick. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. And it just shows how crazy things have gotten, where the Congress insider trades gets caught engaging in incredible crimes and just says, oh, well, it's not crime when we do it. And I see the globalists exempting themselves from taxes, the president exempting himself from the Constitution, openly violating it, openly carrying out Fast and Furious, openly caught lying, openly putting our military under NATO control. And now, in New York State, they've passed the laws. In Missouri, they're trying to pass them. In Washington State, in Oregon. I mean, this is off the charts. They have bills to physically make you turn them in. This is from the Gateway Pundit, directly from the Missouri bill. The Democratic bill in Missouri removed the assault weapon or large capacity magazine from the state of Missouri. That's part 1 of the bill. Render the assault weapon permanently inoperable, that's spiking it, or surrender the assault weapon or large capacity magazine to the appropriate law enforcement agency for destruction, subject to the specific agency regulations. Outlaw the importation, possession, purchase, sale. And I went and looked. That is what they're proposing.